All right, we are live. Happy Friday, everyone. So glad to see everyone. I think we're going to have a great talk today. And before I bring Steve on, I need to deal with a few issues. So, first, people are asking me about my epic hoodie, how they can get one. The simple answer is you really can't. So, Union Glacier has a gift shop, and the clothing that they sell, including my new hoodie and including Dave McKeegan's new shirt, is only available there. So, short answer is you probably won't be getting one. The long answer is if you really want one, you're going to have to make a trip to Antarctica. So, this is just more evidence that we really did go to Antarctica. Okay, so I need to say something that I consider a bit harsh to flat earthers, and the reason I'm going to say it is because it's true. And so I think we should be open to truth and want to know the truth, even if it's hard to hear. So anyway, I'm going to say this because it's important. When I first got in to this whole world of flat earth and globe and all of these debates and finding all of these new YouTube channels I had never heard of, right away, both sides were calling each other liars. It's common. You can't go more than an hour listening to a video from a flat earther or even a glober, and they're calling each other liars. Now, when I got into this and I saw that, it stands out to someone that's new in the space. Once you've been in the space for a while, you kind of become jaded to this. And I don't think you hear it anymore, but it's very, very common. It stands out. Now, when I first heard this, I actually thought that the claims from the globe side that the flat earthers were lying, that they're grifting, that they're pretending that we don't live on a globe in order to just create a following and collect money. My first thought, my first reaction to that was that they're not lying, that the flat earthers are not lying, they're not pretending, they're not grifting. And that's one of the reasons I created the final experiment was like, hey, I think based on listening to them that they're wanting the truth. They call themselves truthers. And if I pay for us to go to Antarctica, they'll go. They'll want to go because they want to know the truth. Since we've been back, not even since we've been back, since our first live in Antarctica, the one we did called It's Midnight in Antarctica, starting 5 minutes after that, and then all the way through to today, I am starting to highly doubt that flat earthers who call themselves truthers are actually in search of truth. And the reason why is because they are calling all of us that went to Antarctica liars. They're calling their own side, the flat earthers like Austin and Jaron, liars. And they're not showing any evidence that they care about truth. So here's the harsh thing that I'm going to say. Anyone that sees this video, including the people who are live right now, anyone who watches this video, if you watched Eric Dubé's video where he thinks he debunked the final experiment and you believed any of it, you are gullible. There is no better word for that than gullible. You are gullible. Let me tell you why. His video was an absolute complete joke. None of it makes any sense. None of it's believable, and it's all easily refuted. And so people have been contacting me. People have been making comments on our channel saying that Eric Dubé has completely debunked the final experiment. And his video is laughable. It's literally laughable. His video is so bad I don't have evidence of this, so I'm purely speculating right now. His video is so bad that I actually think he gets off on making up something crazy and having his followers believe it. I think he just loves it. Like that people are so gullible that they'll just fall for anything he says. Now, with that said, I want you to seriously, I know what I said was harsh, but I want you to take it to heart. If you watched Eric Dubé's video and you're like, wow, this makes sense. It was all done in an Amazon studio with LED screens. You are gullible. And the first step to changing, which hopefully you would want to change and not be a gullible person, is to realize and acknowledge that you are gullible and that you fall for anything. Eric Dubé not only has already proven himself to be wrong and not care, to change his mind and not care, and not even admit that he's changing his mind. We've exposed him so much. But this is kind of like the last straw, to where here's the reality, okay? If Eric Dubé cared about truth, if Eric Dubé is a truther, he even says, he says something along the lines of truth doesn't fear investigation. Well, why doesn't he investigate? So here's the deal. Eric Dubé knows how to get a hold of me. He probably knows how to get a hold of Jaron and Austin and MC Toon and Dave McKeegan and Critical Think. He knows how to get a hold of all of us. So why wouldn't he ask us questions and say, hey, I'd like to see more evidence, or what are your thoughts about this weird thing that I saw in one of your videos? If someone is in search of truth, they ask questions. Think about it. Starting when you're a child, you just want to know more and more about the world, and you ask questions. That's how we learn. You research, you investigate. All Eric Dubé did was make an insane video claiming that we filmed this in an Amazon studio with LED screens, which is so ridiculous. Okay. It's absolutely ridiculous. And anyone that believes that, you are gullible. And so please take this to heart and realize that not only did we do everything we could in our power to give evidence that we did what we did, even though our word should be enough. 9 people, including 4 flat earthers and 4 globers who accompanied me to Antarctica, 9 people's word that we did what we did should be enough, but it's okay. I get the hesitancy to want to believe everything. And so we did everything we could. We filmed our flights. We had GPS trackers. We live streamed. We proved where we were when we were in Chile before we went to Antarctica. We literally did everything. And to make something up that has zero evidence is insane. And so here's a common theme that I've learned by being in this debate. I've learned that flat earthers think that something that's completely made up but possible is evidence that it happened. And that is just not the case, okay? If just to make something up here, if you showed somebody that you have a lot of money in your bank account and you said, I worked really hard to save up this money, they could lie and they could make up a theory that you stole the money, that you robbed a bank. Now, coming up with this theory that you robbed a bank and that's where you got the money, is it possible? Sure. Is it plausible? Maybe. But it's not evidence that you robbed a bank. An idea that you make up is not evidence that it happened. And so if somebody like Eric Dubé would go make a video saying you robbed a bank and that's where you got the money, that's ridiculous. He has no evidence of that. He hasn't asked any questions. He hasn't done an investigation. That's what's happening here. When someone comes up with an idea that we were in an Amazon studio with LED screens, that's an idea, but it's not evidence that it actually happened. So anyway, it'll be very easy to refute. I download videos from YouTube as soon as they go up in case they're removed and people pretend that they didn't do those videos. So all of Eric Dubé's channel has been downloaded, every single video. and will continue to do so. Unfortunately, he missed that I had already released drone footage from 4,920 feet high above our camp in Antarctica. And so I don't think there are any Amazon studios with LED screens that are that big, considering the largest, tallest building in the world is about 2,700 feet tall. So anyway, please, again, Eric Dubé, he has his own issues. But if anybody's listening that watched his video and thought, man, he's making a good case here, he's not making a good case. What he said was completely ridiculous. On this same theme of, I don't think that most of these people calling themselves truthers are actually truthers. Because again, if they were, they'd be asking us questions. They'd be reaching out to us personally saying, hey, can you explain this? I don't understand, or it doesn't make sense, or here's what people are saying. That's what you do. You don't immediately make up a lie and say, this is what happened. On that same thing, I'm going to have to point out two things that have happened that I'm going to debunk right now very easily. The first one is flat earthers, no idea who, have went and listened to some of my sermons, which I'm happy about. And they've taken something I said out of context in order to make me look bad. And most of the people that are quoting me from the sermon are actually misquoting me. What makes this ironic is that I did a sermon series on lying and deception. And it's the most in-depth thing I can find on the topic. Most people don't either want to talk about the topic or they don't understand it. Defining a lie is actually very difficult. It's very difficult to define a lie. It's very difficult to distinguish the difference between lying and deception. It's very fine. There's a very fine difference there. And so I spent hundreds of hours researching lying and deception, including looking at it from a biblical perspective. And I spent so much time, and I actually created a spreadsheet on all of the times that the Bible says that lying and deception are wrong. And I concluded after 4 sermons that lying and deception are not inherently wrong, meaning there are rare circumstances where they are okay. So the few flat earthers who have actually been quoting me accurately, using the word inherently, acting like this is some sort of a gotcha means they don't understand what the word inherently means. So please look up the word inherently. If something is inherently wrong, that means it's always wrong, no exceptions, okay? Now, I make a point in the sermon that people understand generally that killing someone is not inherently wrong because there are rare times where you have to defend yourself and you may end up having to shoots an intruder in your house or something. So there are exceptions to killing being wrong. And I said in the exact same way, there are exceptions to lying and deceiving people as well. And I said it's very rare. Okay. But so now flat earthers are taking me out of context and they're misquoting me and they're saying, I said it's moral to lie and deceive. What's funny is that's a lie. So they're telling a lie about me in this context of lying and deceiving. So that's number one. Number two, there is a new controversy going around about TFE. There are so many now. There's Vapegate, Breathgate, Dronegate, Footprintgate. And again, all of these, no one asked us anything. No one asked us for more footage. No one asked us for an explanation. They just put out these wild theories, which means they're not truthers. They're not investigating. There is a new one, which I don't even know what to call it. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to share this one that's going around. Okay, here we go. All right, so I don't know who this guy is, this John Pounders guy, but I don't know if he created this, but he's the one that I'm going to nail because it's the one that I saw on Facebook. Notice this post has become very popular. It has 2,100 reactions and it has 2,200 comments and 317 shares as of this morning. It's claimed that our picture that our group of 9 people took in Antarctica just a couple weeks ago, that we took a picture from the past, from 7 years ago, 8 years ago, and we photoshopped that picture onto ours to make it look like we were in Antarctica. Okay. Now, this is absurd. And again, I don't know who this guy is, but he didn't reach out to me and he didn't ask me anything. And he also, whoever made this image with the red circles, they lied and they deceived, as you will see. So step one in dealing with this is I needed to find the actual source of this first picture, which has a date of 2016. And I found it. I found the original picture. One thing I've noticed that happens a lot in these flat earth debates is flat earthers show blurry pictures, okay? And it's very strange. We live in a high definition world where everybody's got 4K cameras on their phone, and yet these images are so blurry, okay? So that's the first layer of deception that was used here, is they made the image blurry to make the mountains in the two pictures look the same. So I found the original because I am a truther and I do investigate and I do care about truth. So here is the source of the image, okay? This is a website, mountainsoftravelphotos.com. This guy climbed Mount Vinson in Antarctica, which means he flew with ALE to Union Glacier first, then he took a smaller plane to Mount Vinson. So here is the source of the image. If you click this image here on the lower left, it becomes a bigger picture right here. So this is his original picture that he took, high definition quality. Now, I further found that he has a YouTube channel. Here's his YouTube channel. He's got almost 20,000 subscribers. Here's his website, Mountains of Travel Photos. And here's his video, Climb Mount Vinson, Antarctica, fly from Punta Arenas to Union Glacier Camp, from 7 years ago. So here is the source of this image, which is being used to lie about the final experiment. All right, here is our picture. And again, here's the original. And then here are the two put together. So this is the high quality image on the top, our picture on the bottom. Now, at first glance, it looks like the mountains look very similar. But the first layer of deception that this flat earther did to create this is they cut the image and they cut out specifically the right side of our image. So here, which includes other mountains. So we didn't steal a picture and Photoshop it, because that picture, the original, doesn't have the extra mountains here on the right-hand side. So that's step one that they did. Now, if we line up the mountains, again, at first glance, they look very similar. But if you look closely, which again, flat earthers like to do when they think they're finding something that refutes the globe and validates their position, if you look closely, the snow is actually different. This is a very large mountain. The crevices are going to be very similar, and so the snow is going to look similar in those crevices. But if we look at something like this kind of pyramid-shaped thing above me in the picture, and we zoom in on it, you can see how different the snow is. So this whole idea that we photoshopped an image from 2016 or 2017 is bogus. They had to cut our image to get rid of the other mountains that were in our picture, and they had to blur out and not find the original one from 2016 or 2017 in order to propagate this lie. So anyway, I am frustrated, if you can hear it, and a little fed up at flat earthers telling me they care about truth, telling me that they're truthers, telling me that truth doesn't fear investigation. And from the top down, Eric Dubé down, they're all just making up crazy, wild things that are going to be so easy to debunk and refute. And people are lapping it up like a puppy. So anyway, if you want to do this, go ahead, but it's just not going to look good. If you have a history of consistently being wrong, and the things that you say prove that you misinterpret them and you didn't understand them and you didn't do enough research. If you have a trail of that, a history of that, at some point, you need to take a step back and say, you know what? I don't have good judgment. I don't have good discernment. My investigation skills are not that great. And then take a more passive approach to this topic and say, you know what? I'm going to listen to other people that have better track records and have better judgment than I do. All right. So with all of that out of the way, I'm very excited to have Steve from England back with us. For those of you that don't remember, he was on our channel prior to us going to Antarctica. We had a conversation about a lot of things, including time zones and how snow and ice can make places appear brighter than they actually are. And I don't know where Steve is at. So this is going to be new to all of us. Steve emailed me and said, hey, I'd like to come back on your channel post TFE, post Antarctica. And so, Steve, so glad to have you.
Great to be here, Will. And just to say, Will, you pastor a church, don't you? And I go to church. So how about we begin our conversation by asking God to be with us?
That'd be great.
Okay. Heavenly Father, I thank you for the door that has opened to be able to be here, Lord, and to speak, I believe, for you. I pray, Lord Jesus, that this time together will be an example of how opposing sides can actually conduct a conversation and it not turn into spit and feathers, Lord. And Lord, we ask this conversation brings you glory, and all people who are listening and watching, that they are touched by your Holy Spirit, Lord Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, Will. So, wow. What a month. uh, in the lead up, you guys going out and me contacting you, then going out to Antarctica, uh, conducting your experiments, and then just for those in the community, the flat earth community and the ball earth community, how would you describe how it's lit up, Will? What would be your description of it?
Yeah, it's been a wild ride. It's been a roller coaster, a lot of ups, a lot of downs, but
Yeah.
overall, it was fantastic. We had an incredible trip. We're still trying to get out so much information. It just takes time. I don't think people
Yeah.
realize that. It takes me like 10 hours to make a 10-minute video that's professional, that's
Yeah.
edited, that has music on it. And the file sizes of the data that we brought back are gigantic. And so we're just working through processing them. We finally got one video to process, which I think took a total of 60 hours of total time and rendering and processing and uploading. And then we ran into a limitation on YouTube, which most people won't run into, which is 12 hours and around 256 gigabytes. And so now we're having to reprocess and reduce the quality. So anyway, it's been amazing. Seeing the reactions have been very interesting because we can all make predictions on how people are going to react, but I did not see this reaction coming.
Yeah, I mean, just going through, the ball earth camp and the flat earth camp, it's it's almost like everyone's just picking up hand grenades and just lobbing them at each other. And so for me, Will, what I'd first like to do is you graciously allowed me to show some slides. So the first slide I want to present is an apology, really. Is that round the right way? Yeah, it is. Yeah. So here's a guy. The drunk show. I can't read exactly because it's not particularly good lighting here. What does it say there, Will? The drunk.
It's the Drunk Debunk show.
Yeah, the drunk debunk show. So I was watching, as I had done. I've avidly watched everything. I was given. I had tinnitus in 2015. I was given, it was just a horrible experience, and I ended up getting tinnitus. And it was horrible at the time, but the blessing of it has been that I don't sleep a lot and I'm able to listen to a lot, because that comforts my ear and comforts my mind. And I'm telling you now, Will, I've listened to everything that's gone on for over at TFE, and I haven't and watched so much. But what I've also watched is just how the whole arena has just descended into this kind of worse than muck slinging. And so I was just watching this guy, the Drunk Debunk show, and he was just laughing at claims that he'd been called a sodomite and a mason for just having a brick wall behind him. And I was just thinking, what is going on in how people can't talk with one another? You know, it's just become this kind of hand grenade affair. So, and then I've made a list down the side, as you can see, Will, and you've actually sort of spoken about quite a few of on that list, and it was quite laughable, really. I mean, like, we got Vape Gate, which is blown up all over the place. Shadow Gate, Footprint Gate. What's the next one? Drone Gate. Just to show an example, Will, of how much I've studied this, but also just to say at the beginning, I completely refute your findings, and I'm going to come at it from a totally different angle that's not been really discussed before. And I don't agree with what you came back with, and I say that it was all that none of it's real. And allow me to get to that place, but just begin first of all by just wanting to apologise for a few things. So we go down to Drone Gate, and immediately I could see that you were using it was a proximity drone, wasn't it, that emits a kind of tone.
Yep, that's right.
And so I was watching it, and immediately everyone was saying, look, it's, you know, it's making a tone when it's gone far away, and has it reached the beginning of a theatre, has it reached the beginning or the ending of a stage, etc., etc. But actually, if you go to Mmun live, he did a live on and he was filming the drone. You can see it in the correct perspective, and so the drone goes past Mmun and it beep 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 beeps. Then it goes beyond Mmun some considerable way, and the beeping stops, and there's nothing beeping. But it takes having to look at the other, in this instance, look at what else is going on that other people are filming, and then when you see Mtun's footage, and then you see your footage, it beeps in all the right places and doesn't beep. It doesn't detect anything that's an invisible wall, you know. So, but that, and again, that's part of my being, in many ways, blessed with tinnitus, because in the evenings, I have the time to look and read these things and listen, and so I'd like to think I've been sort of, pretty well informed. So then you've also got, as I say, sodomite gate. I think that's a shameful thing to be saying to people. You know, you're a sodomite, and you're a mason because you just got, this laddie, the Drunk Debunk show. I hope that if he watches this, that he'll invite me on, and we'll have a proper debate, a proper conversation about flat Earth, and ball Earth, and what there could be to talk about. Then we've got North Pole Gate. That was another one. Like, are you in the North Pole? And so, it just goes on. And what was the other one? Oh yeah, any other gate. And Will, yeah, I wanted to say that because I think there's another gate, which is Will Gate, isn't it? So there's lots of people with their eye on you, and they're saying, where did he come from? You sprung out of nowhere. You got a definite agenda. And I was going to, but you've picked up on it already, how you were dealing with the sort of like the video series Lying and Deception, and you've addressed quite a lot of that. But I wonder how many flat earthers who wanted to sort of critique you on that listened to all sermons, and I did.
Oh,
I
wow.
was, yeah, I did. Will I'll make no bones about it. I listened to all of them, and so um, what you did was you used a couple of examples, didn't you, from the Bible, where God, in order for God's purposes to be brought about, it's when if we lie and deceive. Sometimes we do things in order for God's purposes to be brought about, and then when we stand before God, as we all will, we will be asked to give accounts whether, in God's eyes, our lying and deceiving were for truly deceitful purposes, or was there a higher godly purpose? And the incidents that you quoted, there was a higher godly purpose, and so I understand that entirely. But what would you? Let me ask you, Will, what would you did with the benefit of hindsight? What would you have done different? What could you have said or concluded different? Because I've got something that I'd like to add, but I'd just like to ask you, looking back at those sermons, what would you have said that's maybe a bit different that might have diffused some of the flack that you've been receiving for that?
Nothing. So when I did
Okay.
when I did those, I wasn't expecting flat earthers of all people to, in the future, watch them and take something I said out of context and make
Yeah.
it say something different. So,
Yeah. Okay. Well, I would say in hindsight that if I'd have been you, what I would have done different was I would have actually highlighted what I've just said. Because that didn't come across, and so what came across was that you said, that it's okay to lie and deceive, and the overall flavour was that sort of came across. So I can't blame some people for picking up on that and using that as a weapon in this horrible war that's going on at the moment. But then they didn't listen to all four sermons, and I would imagine that very, very few people who have been critiquing you on that have actually listened to all of them. But I did.
yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. And here's the cool thing: I've never once asked anyone to take my word for anything. We brought along 4 flat earthers and 4 globers intentionally, and you can take their word for it if you don't like me, and you can also look at all the evidence we brought back. But I appreciate it.
Okay. So anyway, so getting back to my original statement, Will, I don't believe a word of it. And what's going to be great is that I think you spent 20 minutes outlining some of the flack that you've been getting, but in order for uh, your TFE to be debunked, none of those things none of the list down the right hand side of the Drunk Debunk show needs to even be visited. It's all about how humans deal with themselves and how they portray themselves on film when they know they've been part of a huge deception. And for me,
Let me
that came across very clearly. So what I
hold
wanted
on.
to do, yeah,
Let
go
me
on.
let me ask you a question to make sure I'm understanding.
Yeah.
When you say you don't believe any of it, what does that mean?
What I mean is that what's taken place, I think has been a deception, and many flat earthers I think is a deception, and they've gone about it the wrong way. I think, but hopefully, with our conversation, that you'll be man enough, and I'll be man enough to stay in the room, and we'll be able to talk about it. Because actually, thinking about it, Will, this is a massive thing, isn't it? Because TFE has been on the front pages of newspapers the world over.
Yeah.
Okay, and here am I, little me. I don't know how many people are watching and how many people watch this video, saying that it ain't like it appears. And I have to confess that for the last couple of days, I've been feeling the weight of actually coming into this room with you, because it's like coming into an arena, because If what I'm saying is true, then it's like opposing forces, isn't it? It's like meeting in a room, and there could be the chance of invisible battles taking place as we talk to one another. But I'm hoping that isn't going to be the case. As I repeat, that I think it was a fantasy, and I'd like to lay out the reasons why I believe that is. It doesn't have anything to do with footprints in the snow, with shadows, with drones, with could it be CGI? What I would say is that in this world, um, with AI now, and with the advancement of technology, no matter how many times you could say something, Will, or anybody could say that we didn't fake this, it's absolutely incredible now what can be achieved, and people can be utterly believing what they're seeing with their eyes and listening with their ears, um, and it's all been CGI, So we can't dismiss that it could be done, but I'm not going down that route. So
Okay, Steve.
yeah,
Couple questions that are super important. Okay.
yeah, yes,
I guess here's the main one. Before we have this conversation, which I'm looking forward to having,
yeah.
what would convince you that it was real?
What would convince me that it was real would be for me to go to Antarctica myself, and to be able to witness it myself, because I'm bringing out a video, Will, where and now here's a brilliant example of how we can lie and deceive sometimes. But what are the ulterior motives? Okay, I wrote to an expedition team who conduct tours in Antarctica, and I laid out a specific request that in the Antarctic summertime, which is November, December, January, I'd like to take photographs, and I want to take photographs. Not I want to take photographs with the sun down, because and when the moon comes out, you can get beautiful photos of icebergs. And lo and behold, what came back was I've kept the emails, and they'll be featuring as part of my video. An emails trail from a young lady who said, yeah, if you go far enough down, I can guarantee you'll get your times without the sun, and you'll get your dark time even, depending on weather conditions. And you better take all your photographs of your icebergs. And so I wasn't going to go. Well, I would like to go, but I wrote to this person saying that those are my conditions, that I'd like to go. And if I wrote to her and said, I don't believe there's a 24-hour sun, I think it's all a myth, what would she have done? So I used, you could call it deception, but in that deception of writing to her and saying that I'd like to go and take photographs in a specific way with the sun down and gone, she wrote back to me and said, yeah, you can do that. Now, so am I exposing a greater good by God will judge whether, when I wrote that, and I've contacted other people as well in the video that I'm going to be releasing, and it's been so busy, Will, you'll know, like with Christmas and the New Year and everything, you trying to get content out, etc., etc. I'm being
Okay.
asked, where's my video? So
No.
I'm going to be interviewing somebody who went much further in than you, and he was there over the entire summer working in one of the stations. No midnight sun.
Okay, Steve, this is super important.
Yeah, that's fine.
I want to make sure I'm understanding you.
Yeah.
Did I hear you right that the only way you will believe that what we did was real is if you go to Antarctica yourself?
Well, let's just say, Will, that at the moment, because I like to see things for myself,
Mhm.
but you see, and I think what will happen is as we go through this video, that you will see why I've got my concerns, and maybe other people will too. So, would it be all right to show the
Yes,
next?
but I
Yeah, go
gotta
on. Yeah,
point
go on.
something out here, okay?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know if you have kids, but
3.
okay. I
Expensive.
I have 5.
I know. I've been
And
trolling you, Will.
it would be very it would be a very poor decision on my part to raise them that they shouldn't believe something is real unless they see it with their own eyes.
Oh gosh, Will, that's a can of worms because, as I say, with the world that we're in now, with the advancement of AI and the advancement of CGI and graphics, computer graphics, we have to be so careful. God warns us in the Bible that there's going to come a day when there's going to be deceiving signs and wonders that could deceive even the elect, if that were possible. So God warns us we have to be absolutely on our guard in these days. So,
Okay.
you know,
So here's the important thing, or here's the important piece, and then I'll go to your next slide.
yeah,
Do you believe New Zealand exists?
absolutely, yeah.
Why is that?
Because my best friend just came back from there, sent me loads of pictures, and had a great time. So
Okay.
yeah, haven't got a problem with that.
Okay, cool. So you believe New Zealand exists because
Yes,
someone you know has been there and they've shown you
yes,
pictures.
yes.
Okay,
Well,
cool. So
I've also
someone
been to
you know,
Australia. I've also been to Australia and seen um, on the at Sydney Airport planes leaving for New Zealand. So but I mean, of course, yeah, I've got no problem with that. Of course not.
okay, cool. Just so you know, and then I'll move on to your next slide. Someone
Yeah,
you know has been to Antarctica. They
yeah.
saw the 24-hour sun and they took a video of it. So
Okay.
you do have a double standard.
Well, not really, Will, because you see, because this will be part of what happens with this uh, next slide,
Okay.
which is the AE map. So some of you, or maybe a lot of you, will be aware that Critical Think was about to fly from Punta Arenas, no, sorry, Santiago, to
Sydney.
uh, to Sydney, and so I bet him. I said, "Will, no, I said, Critical. If you can do that flight in the time that you say you can do it in, I will pay you $500, and and you have to just perform a few. I just want you to do a few things to ascertain that you were at A, then you went to B, then you went to, and then you ended up at Sydney, and that you live streamed it, and I could see, and you did it within the time frame that I would say, yeah, fair dues, because I'd always been under the assumption, looking at this AE map, if you look at I think it's South America is at 5 o'clock, and Australia, sorry, Sydney is about 10 o'clock, isn't it? When we look at it,
Yes.
yeah. So I've always been under the impression that this is a linear map. So anyway, that you look at from South America, and you travel in a straight line all the way to Sydney, and I'm thinking there's no way that he's going to do that in that time. So anyway, Critical. I started to get these little messages saying he's at Santiago Airport and he's live streaming. So I'm thinking, oh no, what's going to go on here? Then I get the next one where he's at Sydney Airport and he's live streaming, and he's done it in the time. And so, wow, he's done it. What does this mean for me? So, and there's lots of flack about, oh, this flat earther, he won't pay up, blah blah blah. But but I'm a man of my word, and
Yeah, you did pay. You did pay.
absolutely, of course I paid it, because if you say you're going to do something, you do it. And but you see, here's where the I can't tell you the blessing it's been for me, Will, because as you can see in those sort of like um, Critical was the winner, but you can see there's a question mark, and that question mark was my head and my heart. My goodness me, what happens to the map on the right hand side? What happens to the azimuthal equidistant map? Because Critical's gone and done this flight. Where does that leave me? And so what do I do as a Christian? I prayed and I said, Heavenly Father, I just need clarity on this. And again, because of my tinnitus, I go out for walks and I can take my iPhone with me and my little earbuds. And anyway, I decided I want to find out about the azimuthal map. because I could not believe that Critical's journey would actually debunk it, because I've spoken to pilots just last month coming back from China. I'm blessed to be able to fly business, and business is just up behind the cockpit. And I said to the air stewardess, "Would it be all right? Could I just, brilliant landing? Can I just have a chat with the pilot?" She said, "Yeah, no problem at all." So anyway, I said to the pilot, a bit of a strange question, but do you guys have the azimuthal equidistant map built into your software?" And he said, "Yes." All right. So I was speaking to a Navy he was an ex armaments guy, and he was telling me, just to clarify before our conversation, they use an azimuthal equidistant map for their missile gauging and distance gauging. And I said, "Why?" I said, "It's the most accurate map there is." I know that the equidistant map was used in World War II, and it was used to plan the most effective fuel routes, because they needed to save fuel in order to deliver fuel. Radio hams, you go online now, look at amateur radio hams, they use the azimuthal equidistant map. And if you go historically speaking, you look at Air Force One, look at you see JFK, he's got the azimuthal equidistant map up on the wall in Air Force One. Ronald Reagan's got it up on the wall. In the Washington operations room, you see there's from the 1980s, the azimuthal equidistant map. So there's no way that Critical was going to rock me. So anyway, so I thought, this just guy, I don't know enough about it. And so thank you, Lord. You can see here there's a guy called Peter Weerck. And I think this came from Banjo's site. I'm not sure where it came from, but I've included this here because this gives a detailed summary of how the azimuthal equidistant map should be read. And when he explained it, I was on the walk. Hallelujah! Yes, thank you, Piotr, because how distances are measured on the azimuthal equidistant map is not linear. It's not getting a ruler and point A to B. The quadrants that you see are how it's measured. And so he began by explaining the azimuthal equidistant map by plotting the distance from Perth to Sydney using the azimuthal equidistant map, and it worked out exactly right, which I think is 2,490, 2,485. And then, amazingly, he then plotted in this video the same trip that Critical Think took from Santiago to Sydney. And using that, he explained how long it would take, the plane flight, and it showed that Critical could do it in that time. So I paid up because that was such a fantastic lesson for me, because I now understood properly how the azimuthal equidistant map worked. But not only that, Will, let me tell you, I got lots of messages from ball earthers who said, "Well done. I never thought you'd actually pay up. And I'm subbing to your," and just to get one of them in particular, it was worth 500 Aussie dollars just to get that one sub from a ball earther who said, "Well done, my son. I didn't think you'd pay up." And now he's subbed to my channel.
Okay, Steve,
Yeah.
super important. I want you to realize something, which is if this conversation with a pilot happened, which of course I'm taking your word for that.
Yes. Yeah, it did. Yeah.
You're assuming he's right.
No,
Because,
huh?
No, right? Aren't you
Sorry.
assuming he's right that they use the AE map?
Well, yes, because I asked him.
Correct, but you're assuming he's right and not wrong. If I got you 10 pilots that say they don't use the AE map, you would say you're all wrong. This one that told me what I wanted to hear is right.
No, you see, because Will, this is where we now enter the arena, and let's not lose focus here. This is now we enter the arena where pilots have lost their jobs because they've actually been, they've come out and Air Force personnel have lost their jobs. Army personnel have lost their jobs. People have lost their jobs because they've admitted openly about using the azimuthal equidistant maps, such as the battle that's going on
Okay.
behind the
So,
scenes. So
Steve, here's the most important part.
yeah,
The map on the screen is a Gleason's map.
yeah.
It's actually not synonymous with an AE map. Do you know the difference?
Well, all I'd say is that this is the map that the map that you're seeing here is the map that's been used in all those instances there that you can see in the middle of the screen. And when I asked the pilot, do you use the azimuthal equidistant map in your software? And he said yes. That was enough, you know, because
Okay.
I'm going to be asking more pilots. Believe me, I will be. But yeah, I mean, and he had no reason to lie to me, because I think he thought it was quite a strange. He thought it was quite a strange question, Will. But I mean, you might have seen the YouTube videos where people sneak up on pilots and they've got their phone recording. Is the Earth flat? Yeah, it's flat.
Okay. Steve, here's the important piece, okay?
Okay,
You have to understand the difference between a Gleason's map and
okay.
an AE map, because they're not synonymous. Gleason's map has a scale on it, which is demonstrably false. Gleason's map says there is no 24-hour sun in Antarctica, and it says there's no sunlight beyond 80 degrees south, demonstrably false. What makes Gleason's map unique is it's centered on the North Pole. You can use an AE map, not a Gleason's map, for any location in the world. And so when a pilot tells you that they use an AE map, that is a map centered on their location. They do not use a Gleason's map centered on the North Pole ever.
Well, you see, the thing is, Will, all I'd say about that is that that the reality is that, and we'll get into this as we talk about as we go through what I'm going to be talking about. There's a massive battle, Will, to get rid of, to diss any idea of a map that looks like it could be flat and that God could be looking down upon it like a circle of the earth. And that is apparent, and that's what I want to talk about as we go through this presentation. That there is a battle taking place, and by far the biggest thing is to actually destroy the map that you see on your right.
Okay, cool. I'm going to go to the next slide, but just to
Yeah.
make the record clear, if you ever showed a Gleason's map to a pilot and said, "Do you use this map?" they would all say no.
Okay.
Okay. All right, next slide.
So, when I was before I was a Christian, Will, I became a Christian in 1990. But there's this thing where God, people say that God takes your natural talents, abilities, and He uses them when you give over your life to Jesus for His supernatural purposes. And I've always had a critical eye, and when I was 20, I was out in Australia, and I went into a second-hand bookshop and I saw this book on subliminal advertising. And I was only 20, and I was glued. I didn't have the money to buy it. I just went into the bookshop every night and just read it from the shelf. And it was talking about how stuff is hidden from sight, but it doesn't mean it's not there. And so that opened me up to absolutely seeing that there's a whole other worlds that we don't actually see going on. And so then I then came across a book by Vance Packard called Hidden Persuaders, which is the understanding the mischievous world of advertising. And that just blew my mind, and it made me realise that I was living in a world where you could be walking along and actually what you think is occurring, something else entirely is occurring in the world, in politics, in finance, in everything. And so I learned at a very early age to be very aware and critical of what I watch and what I take in. So this picture that's up for me is a very good example of what we're to, how we're to approach it, how we're to approach life, and how we're to approach looking at phenomena that present themselves to us. And so this is a picture. What you've had time to study it, haven't you, Will? Now, probably.
I'm familiar with the picture.
Okay, well, there'll be many people who won't be, and they'll probably say, well, it's a load of donkeys crossing the desert. But actually, if you look closely, you can see that it's a drone shot of zebras, and then what you're looking at is the shadows, and the zebras are the main feature. But you wouldn't think so looking at the picture. And so what I say is that we spend a lot of our time looking at shadows in this world, and that's something that I've really learned as a Christian, that we need to when we look at something, we've got to not just give it a once over look, but we've got to be critical of it and absolutely study. So that's a call for us to, this is a picture of how we're to approach TFE. Okay, so the next slide. So the final experiment. So 6 or 9, either could be right, couldn't they? So
Hold on. This picture maybe, but the final experiment, no.
No,
there either is a 24-hour sun or there's not.
Yeah. Okay. So the final experiment. So is that 6 or is that a 9? So we need the context. So if you show the next slide, Will. Right, so now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The 6 is missing. We've been given the context.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So now we can say for definite that it's not a 9, but it's a 6. So we now have so context is key. Context is key. So let's now get into the meat of the final experiment, TFE, and this is where we now move from the visible to we start to talk about invisible spiritual things, Will. But I'm believing that God's going to anoint this time, that this will be illuminating for people, even if they don't have the Holy Spirit within them, they will be able to understand what I'm talking about.
You want the next slide?
If that's okay, yes. So, what's the context of the final experiment? And so, I will now speak from a biblical cosmological point of view, see people say, well, a flat earther who believes in God's word. There's 2 ways you can look at it. So, here's the context: Genesis 11. Okay. Nimrod is very clearly, he is in rebellion against God, and he wants to build a tower to reach up to heaven. Now, Nimrod absolutely knew the cosmology, the ancient cosmology, which is making resurgence now. Nimrod wouldn't build a tower to break through to heaven if we lived in a world where you can just go on and on and on, upwards and upwards and upwards. He knew there was a firmament above us, which God has placed.
Hey, Steve, I got to stop you there. Your argument's completely bogus.
Okay, well then, but then you're asking me Will, you're asking me for a flat earther, biblical flat earther response, and so let's just so that's what it says in the Bible, that like Nimrod wants to attack God, so he builds he builds a tower, which is is an established that's an established truth in the Bible, that Nimrod in rebellion builds a tower. So Nimrod is he is an example. He's the epitome of rebelliousness. Okay, so that's been going on since ever Adam and Eve rebelled when they took the fruit. So have you heard of Operation Fishbowl and Operation Dominic Charmer?
A little bit, but
Okay, so I'll just quickly summarize.
Hold on, Steve. Before you do,
yeah,
you're about to talk about something that you weren't there for.
Yes, no, I am, Will, because this is all exactly what TFE, in my understanding, is all about. So just have the please bear with me. I'll only be a minute. So Operation Fishbowl was all about pointing missiles at the firmament, and that's why it was called Operation Fishbowl. 1962. Operation Dominic Charmer was all about exactly the same thing. God's shell is what Dominic Charmer stands for, which is where they want to attack the firmament. So Walt Disney, as you can see there, Walt Disney, their logo, he was instrumental in the 1950s with Wernher von Braun to begin the space race and to begin this imagination that we could fly up into the heavens and go forever and ever and ever. And there's an excellent cartoon called Knick Knack, which demonstrates this exactly, that we live under a dome, that God has placed it there. And that man in his rebelliousness has always wanted to try and break through. And you can see that middle picture there. That's Earthrise, isn't it? That's
Hold on. I'm sorry. Are you saying that arc in the Disney logo is the dome?
Yes, basically.
Okay.
Because what we're looking at, you see, and this is where it becomes so. This is where we have to understand that there is a battle. We are now in a spiritual battle, and it's rebelliousness against God, and so that arc there that you can see, Walt Disney knew very well that there was a dome, and that little tower that's breaking through is it's all symbolism. Will, it's how the occult works. It's symbolism. So if you can see there in the moon with the Earth just poking just above it,
But by the way, Steve, that's not Earthrise.
no, it isn't. It isn't, because that is the original. That's the Walt Disney one from 1955, and that's where they copied it from. So Walt Disney and Wernher von Braun, they were instrumental in sowing into our minds the space race, and sowing into our minds space that goes on and on and on. But what does it do? It destroys the idea of there being a firmament, which God says the firmament showeth his handiwork. So a firmament above us. So the next slide, Will.
Hold on, Steve. Sorry, I gotta stop you.
Okay, mate.
If you look at Earthrise, it looks nothing like that picture. So for you to claim that they copied it is completely a baseless claim.
No, Will. Many people will look at that and they will see, well, that's where you can call it a baseless claim. I'm just showing you that what Walt Disney did in 1955 has been sort of copied in the 60s and 70s. You know, I'm just giving a sort of background as to why we think the way that we think. There's been a lot of hidden influence about why we think the way we think. You know, we have to look at outside of the shadows, and we look for the zebras and not just at shadows. So and Knick Knack, guys watching, go and watch Knick Knack and you will see it's a fantastic Walt Disney, very short, it's a 3-minute cartoon that shows about a snowman trying to escape out from under the dome. And that's what mankind has been trying to do. We want to escape out from under what we believe is to be God's strict rule. But those who understand the biblical cosmology absolutely find freedom in knowing there's a dome above us. It's the circle of the earth, just as the map shows. There's freedom in knowing that, and it also brings in glory. The firmament brings in glory.
How did these people, because you're claiming Walt Disney and Operation Fishbowl, how did they know there was a dome?
Because we've always known, because the powers that be have always known that there's a dome. And
hold on. How did Walt Disney know there was a dome? Don't talk about anybody else. How did the man Walt Disney know that there is a dome?
Gosh, well, Will, I would love to be able to say, let's do a whole conversation about Walt Disney, because he was a very different man to the one that's been portrayed. Very different entirely. He was instrumental. He went out and he filmed the Admiral Richard Byrd expeditions. He was asked to go and be the film guy for them out in Antarctica, where Richard Byrd made up all sorts of things about there being extra land, and you know, like and like sowing this wonderful kind of fairy tale that if we broke through, we would find all these luxurious verdant jungle, and it's all about breaking through the dome. Will you see this T-shirt?
Hey,
You
hey,
know,
Steve, this is important,
that,
okay? I'm
yeah,
gonna tell you this for you
yeah,
and for
okay,
anybody listening, okay?
okay.
You have no evidence there's a dome. You don't know how Walt Disney or anybody else who knew there was a
Biblically
dome.
speaking, Will, Bill,
Yet
I'm going by what
you
the Bible
hold on,
says
you're
here.
interrupting me.
Sorry.
You don't even know Walt Disney. You never even knew him. Yet you know people personally right now today that have been somewhere, witnessed something, and videoed it. And so you're willing to believe in something you've never seen that you have no evidence for, and you're disregarding something that people you personally know have seen and given you evidence for. Just consider that.
Okay, Will. So that's okay. So maybe another time, because it's a massive subject, and I get that. But this is something that I've been looking at for so many years now, and I don't expect things like I'm just showing to you that like symbolism plays a massive part in how we are to understand what's going on in the invisible spiritual realm in this world. So Knick Knack, guys, just go and watch Knick Knack, and you see man trying to break out from under the dome, which is just a classic cartoon example of what what man's heart is. It's all about rebellion against God. So next slide, Will, if that's okay, buddy. So let's bring this into context, okay? Because context matters. You yourself, Will, you've said why we need to go out and do TFE, and one of your things that you said was because there's been lots of allegations of CGI and lots of allegations of manipulation, and so you wanted to get a clear example, or you wanted to get in the can a clear, inarguable 24-hour sun.
Which is why we went to
Yeah.
Antarctica. 9 of us videoed it, and we all testify that we
Okay,
saw it.
well,
Correct.
yeah, all right, well, yeah, okay. So context. Let's have a look at just a few of the ones that have been previous. Now, you have you've made a video, haven't you, where you defend Anthony?
Absolutely.
Yes. His surname escapes me for a second. Just remind me.
Anthony Powell.
That's it, Anthony Powell. That's it. So you've defended Anthony Powell. So let's have a look at at the first video. You can see Anthony. Let's look at the top left one. There's Anthony Powell there. You
Yep.
can see him, and you in your defending video of Anthony, you show an Antarctic 24-hour sun time lapse video.
Unedited.
Yes, but you see where it says Doc Studios.
Yep.
You go there, and there's Anthony Powell explaining why it's edited.
He explained why the one in the documentary
Yeah.
Antarctica: A Year on Ice was edited.
No. This one here that you can see, which is the one that you show in your defense of Anthony. He says that that the editor, he blamed the editor, and he said, "Oh, the clouds." The editor wanted the clouds at the beginning of the 24-hour time lapse to be the same at the end, so it was cut. And he shows in this video where it was cut in the middle, so absolutely doctored. So
Hold on, Steve. Steve,
yes,
you've misunderstood. Okay, let me explain it to you. Anthony Powell's original video was 36 hours.
yes,
They only wanted 24.
yes.
So they cut it here and wrapped it around so it would show 360. That's what caused the same clouds. The video I released is all 36 hours unedited.
No, well, I've been onto your site, Will, and I've watched it, and so this one. So, but what's really important is that has been doctored, and that's the one that you got on your
Hey,
your
Steve,
yeah.
I showed all 36 hours unedited. There's no repeating clouds. There's no cuts.
Okay, well, we can perhaps have a discussion about that at some point. The one on the right hand side, which is another Anthony Powell one.
Yep.
That one, the sun never changes shape. in all the time.
Well, hey,
Anthony
Steve.
Anthony put a little watch, a little instead of time embedding it, he put a little watch there. He again, when you watch it, there's superimposed text on it, and so it's not a professional at all, and it's wide open to allegations of being
Okay,
tampered
Steve,
with.
I have to refute this, okay?
Okay,
The
well,
globe model says that the sun stays the same shape, so that's what we would expect to see in a video of the actual sun.
yes, but Will, that sun, you see those sun's rays there. If
Those are
anybody
not.
goes to,
Hey,
if
Steve,
anybody,
those are not the sun's rays. It's okay. It's okay. You don't understand this.
no,
That is
Will,
that is
that's based.
called lens flare,
Okay,
and you can actually tell the type of lens he used by counting the flares. If you go take a picture yourself of the sun, you will get those based on what kind of a camera you're using.
okay, Will. So the lens flares go in front of the watch. So go, guys, go in and have a look at it yourself. And so this next one down in the bottom left,
No,
you
no,
see,
no,
this
no, no,
is
no, no,
this is.
no. We're not leaving. Okay, so
Oh, okay.
he put the word west artistically in there. Have you ever seen a Hollywood movie where they put words on the screen?
Yes.
Okay, that doesn't mean that it's fake.
Okay. Okay, Will.
Okay.
Well, I'm not gonna, we won't. So for those that want to look at it and say, is this purist and is this a scientific analysis of a 24-hour sun? Many people would say no. So I mean, I'm assuming we're of equal intelligence. If I was presented with that as evidence for a 24-hour sun, I'd just laugh and say, it's just full of inconsistencies. The one on the bottom left, this is where MC Toon really defended it.
Yep.
Um, and the it's meant to be of a 5-day continuous sun traversing in a circle around the South Pole Station. And this is easily debunked because you can see tracks that change on the surface, and in the 5-day it's meant to be a 5-day traverse of the South Pole Station. There's 54 vehicles based there and 140 people working in there, and then it goes down to about 40 in April. This was taken in March. Not a single vehicle shown in 5 days, and yet tracks appear there. And two people over 5 days. It just doesn't happen, Will. So MC Toon was about to be asked about this. Okay, Sean Griffin was interviewing him, and this is where MC Toon doesn't do himself any favors, because what he did was immediately he goes, liar, 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 and so Sean Griffin had to mute him, and then it all just descended into more chaos. But I'd
Hey,
happily
Steve,
talk to MC Toon about this
Steve,
video.
Steve,
Yes.
what was Sean Griffin's response to this video?
What was Sean's? I
I
don't
remember.
know.
I watched it live. What was his
Yeah.
response?
Well, I think Sean Griffin should have been more.
I don't want to know what you think he should have done. What was his response?
Well, I didn't see the whole video. I just saw it
Okay,
up
I'll
until
tell
where.
you. It's okay. I'll tell you. He said it doesn't count because it's a time lapse and not a video. Is that a valid argument?
Well, no, but you see, Will, this is another reason. So I agree with you, but what this does is that this shows again that this couldn't be used as evidence. So I'm just putting the context into why you went out to do TFE. All
Okay,
right.
so hold on. You haven't made a valid argument about that video.
All right. Okay. Well, I'm
Because
not going to.
it's saying there were no vehicles. You can't see a majority of what's going on because it's
No,
following the sun.
you're right. But over 5 days, Will,
Hold
over
on.
over
Hold
5
on.
days,
Hold
you would
on.
expect to see vehicles.
No, you wouldn't. So, Steve,
Okay.
we have to think outside the box, okay?
Okay.
What if Robert Schwartz told people, hey guys, I'm trying to get an epic 5-day time lapse of the sun. And so do me a favor and don't go between the sun and the camera for the next 5 days. Is that possible?
It would be possible, but I don't
Okay,
see why
great.
it wouldn't. But I don't
So
see why it'd be necessary.
Well, it would be necessary to get a video that doesn't get blocked, because guess what? As soon as clouds block the sun or a person or a vehicle, you guys say, oh, it's not a 24-hour sun. So we're trying our hardest, Steve, to give you guys what you ask for, and you still disregard it. Now, Steve, here's the most important question.
Okay.
Anthony Powell's videos, all of his 24-hour sun videos, the sun has a wave pattern in the sky. Robert Schwartz's doesn't. It stays at the exact same level. Why?
Because it's in March.
No.
Oh, but then
can you give me any rational explanation on a flat Earth why the sun would go up and down like this in a wave in Antarctica, and at the exact same time do this in Antarctica?
Well, I'm getting to the point, which is that the sun traverses the earth just like Psalm 19 says, and I can't see it doing what you're doing. So what you're saying. So that's what I'll be coming to.
Okay.
But I'm just showing you that this is the context, that there's loads of important questions about these that were left unanswered. And
Okay,
this last one in the bottom right.
Steve, I'm sorry. This is super important, because I think this one point might convince you in the future to change your mind.
Okay.
It doesn't make any sense. So just so you know, I know where Anthony Powell took these videos, and it's exactly 750 miles from where Robert Schwartz took his video. By the way, I communicate with both of these men because, again, I'm a truther and I investigate. It makes no sense on a flat Earth when Anthony Powell films the same sun as Robert Schwartz, only 750 miles away in Antarctica, for Anthony Powell's sun to go up and down and for Robert Schwartz to stay level. It doesn't make any sense except on a globe. You cannot make sense of this on a flat Earth.
Well, then let me ask you this then. Okay. Here's because I don't like the word truther, because that almost like means that you're employing language that makes you look superior in front of somebody else. Oh, I'm a truther. No, I just like researching, investigating. So I've written to Anthony Powell, okay, because I've got photos that are going to be coming out in my video, along with video evidence of people giving testimony to a setting sun, pictures taken by innocent travellers, not understanding at all the politics of the moon and darkness in Antarctica, just posting up on other places. So I've collected all of these pictures and video, and as I say, I've got this interview coming up with this guy who spent the whole of a summer in Antarctica, deep into Antarctica, and there being no 24-hour sun. So I haven't got a problem with that. But
okay, Steve, this
Anthony
is important.
Powell, let me just say this. When I wrote to Anthony Powell and I asked him this question, I said, and so he wrote back, and he didn't give a very convincing argument at all. So I then sent a second email. I said, Anthony, can you please tell me what's with this mythical drive to perpetuate this idea that there's a 24-hour sun in Antarctica in the summer? So he wrote back, okay, and you'd think, wouldn't you, that a man who was supposedly made 6 time-lapse videos at least would say, oh well, please, I'll refer you to my time-lapse videos. He didn't say that once. He said, I've seen it with my own eyes. He didn't mention once his own time-lapse videos. Why wouldn't he? Because that would shut me up, wouldn't it? Why didn't Anthony Powell send me links to his time-lapse videos? Because he knows they're a crock.
Hey, Steve. Showing you his time-lapse videos is not going to shut you up for 2 reasons. One, you've already admitted.
Come on. Let's be.
You've already admitted today that you are throwing out all of our time lapses.
Will, I'm just telling you that, like, if
Steve,
He didn't
Steve,
know me from Adam. Why
Steve.
didn't he tell me? Why didn't he tell me? Oh, look, go and look at my time lapse
Hey,
videos.
Steve, your email
Yeah,
address, which I'm not going to dox you, okay?
yeah.
Your email says that that Australia is not down under.
Will,
Hold on,
Will,
Steve.
I wouldn't
Steve,
use that
please,
email address. I wouldn't
please
use
don't
that email
interrupt me.
address. Yeah,
Please don't
okay,
interrupt me. Your
sorry.
email address gives away that you're a flat earther. When Anthony Powell hears from you and hears you saying that you don't believe there's a 24-hour sun, he knows you're a flat earther. He knows you've already seen his videos. There's no point in him saying, watch my videos. You're
No,
making
Will.
something out
No,
of
I'm
nothing.
sorry, Will. I must refute you there because, of course, I don't use my down under doesn't exist. And the reason why I use down under doesn't exist is not because Australia doesn't exist, but because it's not down under. We live on a flat plane. I wrote to Anthony Powell using a totally different email address.
Right.
And it was and of course I wouldn't. Will, credit me with a bit of brain. I'm a flat earther at imaflatearther.com. Can you please send me some of your videos? Of course I didn't do that, Will.
So
Please.
did you deceive him into thinking you were a glober?
No, I just wrote to him and asked him and said, "Look, Anthony, I've seen these pictures. I'm confused. You're a well-known Antarctic photographer. Can you tell me about these?" And then we entered into this dialogue, and
Okay, so
then
you told
that's
him you just admitted you told him you'd seen his stuff before. So he's not
yeah.
going to say, "Look at my stuff harder." He's going to say, "Listen, man,
No,
I've seen it with
Will.
my own eyes. I've been there. I don't know what else to tell you." So,
No,
Steve, this is a
Will.
huge problem in the flat
No,
Earth
it's
community.
of
Is
course
flat
not, Will.
earthers think that
Yeah.
that all that there is in the world is flat Earth. People that are not flat Earth don't care about flat Earth. They don't even think about it. Anthony Powell's documentary was filmed and released in like 2011 before there were any flat earthers. There were no flat earthers in 2011. Zero.
Okay, well, let me just explain. I mean, just very quickly then. As far as I'm concerned, if I write to somebody using a perfectly a nominal email address, not giving away that about my understanding of the shape of the Earth, just asking normal questions, which is what I did, I would expect a man who has made 6 time-lapse videos when I say to him, um, Anthony, what's with this myth, with this drive to have us everybody believe there's a 24-hour sun when it clearly doesn't exist. Why wouldn't he send me at least one link to one of his 6 time-lapse videos to
I
prove it?
don't think I'm going to be able to help you understand this, Steve, but
Okay, fair enough.
Anthony
Okay.
doesn't care about flat Earth at
But
all.
he didn't
Hold
know that I
on.
was.
Hold on.
I was just making a
Steve,
normal.
please just hear me out.
Okay.
When you contact someone who has spent decades in Antarctica, who's filmed the 24-hour sun, and you say, what is with the myth of the 24-hour sun?
Yeah.
You are calling him a liar, even though you're not using the word liar. And so the fact that you even got a response is impressive to me.
No, Will, that was my 3rd email. It
All
wasn't
I'm
just
going
the
to
first.
say is that you should be thankful that he responded. So
Yeah, well, he did respond, and I would have hoped that he would have sent me at least one link to
no,
show.
you don't accept video evidence. You've said that unless you go see it for yourself. So I'm glad he didn't waste his time.
Okay, all right, well, I'm not put down by that, but I'm sure there'll be people here listening and going, well, it would be perfectly normal. Yeah, you want to know about there being a midnight sun? You're calling it a myth. Well, take a load of this. I've shot 6 of these time lapses. Pick any one of these links. That's what I would do if it was genuine, personally, and
Well,
then it would shut me
he's
up.
not you, and it's okay for people
Oh,
to do different things.
oh, okay, okay. Well. Anyway, so and then this one in the bottom right was simply reversed, and you can see when you slow it down, it's been reversed, and so that's the backstory. I think that's been quite a good illustration of the backstory is why you needed to go out and film, because you wanted to do one without controversy.
And we did.
Okay, fair enough. Well, you've invited me in for me to give you a kind of. So here they are. Gosh. So I will now. So what I need to ask you now, my friend, is that you've said to in your original initial call out, you said, I want to know about uh, what the flat earthers have got to say. Do they want to come back? And so I'm going to be telling you now, not just me, but I'm going to be representing who I believe to be sort of, uh, uh, I'd like to say people who can understand what's going on and also have the ability to communicate clearly and are not model thinking. And so when I comment on the band of brothers and sisters that went out to Antarctica, it's not just me. There's millions of us who think very similar. Okay, so let's just talk about the people who were out there. So Lisbeth, so you chose 4 flat earthers, didn't you, or 3? Was it? Yeah, four flat earthers.
No, I
So
did not. No, I did not.
well, no, she got the lucky ticket. Okay,
Correct.
okay,
So
yeah, yeah.
here's the truth. I held a poll on our channel to see who everyone else wanted to go to Antarctica, and Flat Earth Dave won. So I said, hey, the people decide. So I went to
Yeah.
Flat Earth Dave and I said, you want a free trip? I'll pay for it. And he said no.
Yeah.
The next person on the poll was Jaron. He got the second highest amount of votes. I said, Jaron, do you want to go? And he said, yes, if Austin will go with me. So Jaron picked Austin. The people picked Jaron. Then when it came to the golden ticket, Lisbeth was one of the people who filled out an application, and I did choose her. So I chose one.
Oh no, Will, I'm not. You know, because I know all of this because I've, as I say, my tinnitus has allowed me to watch and listen to all of this. So,
Great.
but let me tell you about Lisbeth. So anyway, so she, and I know that you've done a damage control on this, I would call it that, because Lisbeth, you know, she got up and she squealed and she went, "Oh, I would like to thank my best friend from NASA." So straight away, Will, you know, like we know that in the FE community that we don't trust NASA as far as we can throw her, and so it didn't bode very well for us flat earthers to be thinking we're comfortable that Lisbeth's going. And then in the 20-minute interview that you conducted with her, it became apparent that Lisbeth didn't know hardly anything about flat Earth. She didn't know hardly anything about it. And Will, you know, I know if she's watching this, I bet if I asked her a few simple questions based on what she portrayed in her 20 minutes with you, that she'd be well out of her depth. So anyway, Lisbeth went off.
Hey, Steve, you just said something that makes me very frustrated with you.
Okay.
The whole purpose of the final experiment was to break down walls of division, get both sides to come together, work together, collaborate, be friendly. Okay? We succeeded in that. What you just said, Steve, is that if you want to be a true flat earther, you cannot be friends with anyone who works at NASA. That is ridiculous.
No, Will, that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if you want to be purist about it, it's not a good start. So anyway, Lisbeth went, okay, and then so she didn't really, you know, from what I've observed, that there wasn't a lot of flat Earth content coming from Lisbeth that would make a lot of flat Earthers.
That's what made her a great person to go, because people were saying that people who have a lot of content like Austin and Jaron can't be trusted because they're doing it for money.
Okay,
so
well,
I covered all the bases here.
Okay, so Lisbeth comes out, and in no particular order. Then Mark.
Hold on. Well, we should. Do you want to go to the 4th flat earther first?
Yeah. Okay, so let's do
lower left corner. Jonathan Morandi is the 4th flat earther.
Yes.
What's your issues with? What are your issues with him?
No, it's not about issues, Will. I'm just making observations.
Okay,
I'm not here.
This is super important.
Okay.
Jaron, I believe, became a flat earther either in late 2014 or early 2015.
Yeah.
Jonathan Morandi, we verified this, posted about flat Earth, specifically about there not being a 24-hour sun in Antarctica in 2015.
Okay.
So is he good enough for you?
Well, all I'm saying is that what came over, Will, to me was that I've been looking into this for 10 years, and there's you develop an understanding, don't you, of people and where they're from and the language that they use. And all I'm saying is that I personally, and I know that a lot of other flat earthers who are not trying to pick a fight with you guys, that there just wasn't this level of comfortableness that here is somebody like me who can talk about, from the very beginnings. I can give you my whole journey about flat earth. I can tell you how it all started, what I've learnt in the process, and where I'm comfortable with. That didn't come across from Jonathan or Lisbeth. It just didn't come across, Will. So
Okay,
that's all I can
so
say. That's all I can say.
okay, Steve, real quick question.
Yeah.
Did we have any legitimate flat earthers with us?
Well, this is what I want to talk about now, Jeren and Whitsitt, because when you look at the video that it says a 24-hour sun, and this is the one that we'll come on to. Jeren's face was all over the news and on the front pages of so many newspapers, because he comes on and he goes, sometimes in life you're wrong.
And he, and he
That
was
was
right.
okay. So that was Jeren's opening line. And Jeren, if you're watching this, buddy, I watched you, and this is where my sort of understanding of body language comes in. Jeren almost he was the one guy in 2015 or 2016. He did a debunk of a 24-hour sun, and it was phenomenal. And he wrote to, I think it was Mawson Station, and they said, oh, the reason why it was glitchy was because there wasn't enough bandwidth. And Jeren absolutely annihilated this 24-hour sun video. It was a Jeren, I want to say, my friend, there was an absolutely superb demolition of a fake 24-hour sun video. So
Steve, shouldn't we all admit when we're wrong?
yeah, but I'm just
So
saying
didn't Jaren do the right thing in that moment?
no, because what I'm gonna lead up to, and I'm gonna show you, is that Jeren knows exactly how this game is played. I saw him just about crumble. He never made a proper admission about there being a 24-hour sun. And when you watch, and I want to challenge everybody to go back and watch how Jeren words what he's being asked and what he's being asked to actually admit to. And Jeren doesn't admit to anything. He stumbles, and I saw him almost cry. Will, I saw him almost cry, and what I saw in that moment was that Jeren, he then knew exactly, he in that moment, because he knows he's done enough videos that debunk so much of the Ball Earth community and what they believe in. He knew what he was doing, and Jeren almost started to cry, but then he receded back into it. But like Jeren, my friend, I want to thank you for what you've done in the early years and how you battle through what you're battling through now.
Okay,
I
Steve,
don't know.
this is important.
Yeah.
You're pretty much calling Jaren a liar now. So why is he lying?
No, what I'm saying, I personally believe that because Jeren, what his previous content has been, where he's at now. And did you know, Will? Okay, this is going to be an internet first, and I'm so glad. Is this being going out? Everyone's seeing this now, are they?
Yeah, there's 1,000 people watching.
Right. Okay. So Jeren on video admitted, and this is where my tinnitus is a blessing because I've listened to all of this. Jeren is out doing his live stream, and at one point in his video, and I've got it on video, I've recorded it in case it gets deleted. He says, and it sets. The sun rises there, and it sets, and then he quickly moves on to something else. Now you haven't spotted that yet. This is a first. This is a first that's being listened to. Jeren admits it. And then secondly, in another video, what he does is he records somebody from ALE, Antarctic Logistics Expeditions. They're talking about the sun rising, and then the guy's naturally talking, and then it goes, and then the sun, and then Jeren cuts it. Now I know, and Jaren knows. Jaren, my friend, you know that you've done that because you've left little clues that this was all set up. And it's there, Will. It's there, and people can rush and they can look at this video. And if it's not taken down, they'll find it themselves. Jaren admits on film. He goes, and the sun rises here, and it goes over the mountains, and then it sets, and then he quickly moves on to something else. He says it there in the same way that Gus Grissom hung a lemon in his module, because to say that the whole NASA malarkey was just a malarkey, and then he died mysteriously.
Hey,
So,
Steve, I have to
Darren, you've
say,
done it.
Steve, I have to say two things that are very important.
Okay.
I
Go
hung out
look, truthers. Go look, and you'll find it.
I hung out with Jaren for 10 days.
Yeah.
There's no way he said in a video that the sun set while we were in Antarctica, because it didn't.
Will,
Hey, hold on,
it's
Steve.
there. I've
Steve,
got it, Will. I've got it.
Steve,
I've got it.
Steve, you have to let me talk.
Okay,
You
sorry.
have to let me talk. There's no way he said that. I'm guessing that you're going to find a video where we were in Chile and he was talking about the sun setting, which of course it's
Okay,
set
Will.
there.
Let me tell you, Will.
Hey,
Let me
Steve,
tell
I'm
you
not
what it
done.
is. Okay, buddy.
And so here's the most important part, is your heart, okay?
Yes.
If you're wrong about what you're claiming in front of 1,000 people right now that will be seen by tens of thousands, if you're wrong about Jaren saying the sunset, do you even care? Or will you just move on like nothing happened?
Oh, Will, do you think I would come out with something like that? Do you think I would come out with something like that if it wasn't true?
Steve, if you're wrong, will you care?
Of course I care, because I care for the truth.
Okay, great. And so will you being wrong be evidence that Jaren actually saw a 24-hour sun?
Well, that's two separate issues. What we're contesting is whether Jaren said on film, and the sun rises over there, goes over this mountain, and then it sets. So that's what we're talking about, and Jaren says it on film, and it's in his videos, and I've got all the times, and I've got so I can,
Are you going to show it? Are you going to show it to us right now?
Oh gosh, well, I'm on my phone, but let me tell you. In his live feed, where the sun doesn't set, okay, he's going around, and at 1:17 he says, and the sun rises here, goes over here, and then it sets. And then what he does is he very quickly moves on, but he said it enough. Will, you can laugh, but it's there. Guys, go there. This is an internet first. Jaren has snuck this in, and that's not the only one that he's done. He's done another one as well.
Hold on,
Thank
Steve.
you, Lord.
Steve.
Yeah.
I want to see this right now.
Okay, so go to Jaren, where his video is where the sun doesn't set. It's one of his live feeds. I think it is. It's around the.
What's the name of the video?
Yeah, go for it. All you guys, all you people.
What's the timestamp?
At 1:17. I'd just start at 1:14, and everyone else get on your computers. All you guys on the Flat Earth side, look at that. You will know that Jaren has Jaren. You've sown this as a little seed because you could not admit. You could not fully go with it, and you've left this as a little seed. And you've done another one as well, which we can talk about straight after you've seen this one. And the next one that Jaren does is an absolute classic, and he's fed into the video. What he's saying is the Gus Grissom. He's hanging a lemon, saying, "I might be here saying all these things, but in truth, this is what I believe." And it happens all the time, Will. So
yeah, sorry.
You let that one.
Give me 1 second, okay?
Yeah, okay, sure.
I'm trying to find it on my phone first.
Other people have found it already. Where the sun doesn't set, go to 1:15, and Jaren admits it.
Does he say the word set before we
yes,
play?
Yes, he does. He does indeed. And then he moves quickly on, and he does it in such a way. And then if you if you slow it down to say 0.75, you can absolutely clearly hear him saying, "And the sun sets." And Jaren, my friend, I want to thank you for that, because you're going to get a lot of people now asking you about this, and then they're gonna get a lot of people asking you about the next one as well, which is an even bigger.
Hold on. This is important, okay?
Yeah, of course.
I'm giving you an opportunity to prove what you're saying live. So let me play this right now, okay? I've not done this before, so everybody just needs to be patient with me for 1 second.
Yeah, of course.
All right, 1 second.
Gosh, isn't this exciting, guys? That's it. This is the video. Volume, Will.
Sorry, give me 1 second. I don't know how to play the audio through. Hold on.
Yes. This, guys, is flipping documentary making at its flipping brilliantest. Whoa.
Hold on. Give me 1 second, guys.
Yeah, okay.
I just need to figure out how to get the audio on StreamYard.
So for those that are thinking, well, while you're trying to do that, I'll go and have a look for myself. It's the live feed on Jaren's site where the sun doesn't set, and go to 1 minute. We can start at about 1 minute 12 if you want to.
Just give me 1 second. I'm gonna sorry, give me 1 second here. Okay. I see how to do it. I see how to do it. I have to go. Oh, it says I have to share a tab. Okay, I got this. 1 second. Okay, got it.
Hang on,
Share.
Will. I'm just going to, because
Okay, we're good.
It's
good.
quite cold here. Oh, yeah, go on then.
All right, here we go. So let's not say anything. I'm starting it at 1 minute, okay?
Okay.
And again, you're claiming that he says the sun sets and he uses the word set. I highly doubt it, but let's listen.
Okay.
Let's listen live.
That's fine. Can't hear nothing, Will.
It's loading.
I don't know what it means. We're a little bit delirious. We haven't slept. We maybe get an hour in here and there. My time lapse is done. You can see here that this is the solar tracking mount, and it has stayed perfect with the sun for the last 24.
They're legally robbing you.
Of course, we get an ad. Hold on.
You pay for car insurance. Here's the deal: a big chunk of your
Upgrade, Will. Upgrade.
So, yep, the sun will dip down right here. It doesn't go behind that mountain. It goes right above it. Comes over here.
Uh-oh, Steve. He didn't say what you said.
Yes, he did, Will. Will, this is stuttering. This is stuttering,
Steve.
Will.
Hey, Steve. He did not say the sun sets.
Will,
he didn't even use the word set.
Will, yes, he does. And it's your film is buffering. Just let it play normally and you'll hear him say it quite clearly.
Okay, I'm gonna rewind to 1 minute, okay? My computer is struggling to play this because I'm live streaming with 1,000 people, but
yeah,
let's see if we can do it. Here we go.
Or I don't know what it means. We're a little bit delirious. We haven't slept.
No, well, it's buffering.
We maybe get an hour in here and there. My time lapse is done. You can see.
Well, it's buffering.
That this is the solar tracking mount, and it has stayed perfect with the sun for the last.
Hold on. I'm going to reduce the quality of the video.
You need to, Will. Need to have it so that it plays smoothly.
Hold on. We care about the audio. Let me see if this works. I want to hit play. This is the important line.
Last 24. So, yep, the sun will dip down right here. It doesn't go behind that mountain. It goes right above it.
Okay, Steve. Steve's gone.
No, I haven't, Will. I'm here.
Okay, so Steve, here's what he said. He said the sun goes down, does not go behind this mountain.
And then it sets. And
no,
so, Will,
Steve,
you're going to get...
Hold on. Hey,
Okay.
Steve. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do.
Why aren't you playing it? You're not playing it.
Okay, so I need to keep playing it for him to say it sets?
No, Will, you just need to let it play, let it buffer and play through, and you hear him say it. And Will, I'm so pleased about this because this is going to cause an absolute storm because I'm right.
Hey,
And
hey, Steve. I
yeah,
just pulled up the transcript from YouTube. It's just a button, and it says right here, so yep, the sun will dip down right here. It doesn't go behind that mountain, goes right above it, comes over here, gets back up high in the north.
go to it, Will, and play it through. I don't want to move on
Over
until
here,
you
gets
play
back
this
up high in
through
the
without
north.
buffering.
And then
See, Will,
since
it
a lot
keeps
of
on
people were
buffering.
saying something about this isn't near Union Glacier. Union Glacier is just on the other side of that hill there.
I'm not hearing what you're hearing.
Because it's buffering, Will. Come on. Okay. Well, look. Then in another video, I'm telling you, Will, the SH1T is going to hit the fan on this because Jaron has said it, and it's very clear to hear. Then in his Christmas Eve special at 1 hour 48, Jaron includes a little clip. Oh, Will's gone now.
I'm trying to increase the bandwidth here.
Okay, so at 1:48 in Jaron's Antarctica Christmas Eve special, at 1 hour 48 minutes, Jaron is cycling around the site, and then it cuts to an ALE worker who's talking about how the sun rises, and then the sun, and then Jaron deliberately cuts it, and it makes no sense at all unless you understand what Jaron is doing here. And Jaron has sewn this in, so he's a truther at heart, but I say he's been bought out, and so do millions of others that Jaron has. Unfortunately, he's now going to be living with, knowing that he's done some fantastic exposés, and he's unfortunately sort of caved in.
What's the next video?
The next video is the Antarctic Christmas Eve special.
And what's the timestamp?
1 hour 48 minutes.
And what is said?
He's on a bike, and then it suddenly cuts to a conversation that I think it's an ALE worker is having, and he's just naturally talking about how the sun rises, and then you know what he's going to say next, and then the sun sets, and Jaron cuts that little word out.
Okay, Steve.
So anyway,
hold on.
Yeah.
Can you explain to me where you got this superpower of knowing what someone's going to say before they say it?
Well, let's just let this all unfold, because I think this is an internet first, and I'm flipping delighted that it is. Don't just let me say it, but others will be wanting to sort of have their piece as well. But this is all about this is all about Jaron just letting us know that it's a lemon. This is just the beginning of what I wanted to talk about, because there's other massive admissions that people make, and what they don't say, that just, we don't need to talk about footprints, we don't need to talk about all the other stuff we've been talking about. This is all about what humans do when they're asked to deceive.
Okay, Steve, this is going to be a super important question, and if you're
Okay.
not willing to answer it, I don't think we can continue.
Okay.
What will convince you you're wrong about Jaron?
What do you mean, sorry?
What will convince you that you are wrong, that Jaron said the sun sets, that he's leaving these clues? What will convince you you're wrong and that he wasn't doing that?
Well, I can't be convinced, because that's what he did. And so
Hey, Steve, that's not an answer to my question, because you just admitted that we should admit when we're wrong.
Yes, of course.
So if you're wrong, which is a possibility here, that you're wrong about
Yeah.
Jaron,
Yes.
what would convince you that you are wrong about him?
Well, if I'm wrong about it, Will, I'll say that I
No,
purposely deceived and I lied. But I mean, it's what he said, and it's true. And
no,
you
no, no.
haven't yet,
I
Will, you
didn't.
haven't yet successfully played back what I've claimed.
I also didn't ask you what you'll do if you're wrong. I said, what would convince you that you're wrong?
Oh,
What
sorry, Will.
evidence could be given to you that would convince you you're wrong about what you're claiming about Jaren?
That somebody would go into my phone and they would delete the little bit that I've recorded, but I'm talking to you on my phone, so I can't play it back. So it's quite difficult. Um, Will, I'm not wrong, and
Well,
I don't
Steve,
lie, and I don't
hey,
lie, and I wouldn't lie about this, especially in front of all these people.
hey,
Jaren's
Steve,
done it.
I'm gonna give you the correct answer to your question, to my
Okay.
question. Okay.
Yeah.
The correct answer is if Jaren would contact you and say, Steve, you're wrong.
Well, no, because who knows what pressure Jaren would be put under to come along and say these things. You know, it's there. Jaren said it out loud to his camera, then he moved quickly on, and then he did it again in a surreptitious way, but just enough to let us
Okay.
know that.
Okay, Steve, this is important. Okay.
Okay.
Looking at the screen here, we're looking at Mount Rossman. What cardinal direction are we looking when we're looking at Mount Rossman?
Will, I'm sorry, I'm not worried about it.
No, no, no.
Cardinal.
Hey,
Sorry, Will,
Steve.
Cardinal,
Steve.
Fardinal. It doesn't matter. Jaren
Steve.
said what he said.
Are you wanting to end the conversation or do you want to answer my
Of
question?
course not. Of course I
Okay,
don't.
so what cardinal direction are we facing here in the video?
I have no idea.
South.
Okay.
So Jaren's talking about the fact that the sun is going to go down in the sky, which is what the globe predicts. Again, you didn't understand why the sun moves in a wave pattern for Anthony Powell and not for Robert Schwartz. It's because we live on a globe. And then he says it goes down, but it doesn't go behind the mountain. And then it starts to head north. That's what he says in the video.
No, he doesn't, Will. And just wait till you play it back. And I'm so glad this has come out because this is going to cause an absolute flipping SH1T storm. I'm not lying. He said it. You haven't been able to play it back because it's not been buffered properly. He says it. And then in the other one, the Christmas special, the Christmas Eve special, at 1 minute 48, he purposely cuts it just before the ALE.
Okay, that I have no StreamYard crashed on my end.
Okay, Will. Well,
So hold on. Just give me 1 second, okay?
and Will, also, just let me give you a second to turn a heater on because I'm getting quite cold, buddy.
All right, I have a surprise for you. So nobody go anywhere. Nobody go anywhere. This is about to get good. Okay. So I'm so glad everybody's still here. When StreamYard crashed, I thought the entire live crashed. Give me 1 second. Here we go. Okay. So just for the audience to understand what's going on, which I think you're already understanding, is that Steve has created a narrative that is his own opinion.
I haven't created a narrative, Will.
And
Yeah.
yes, you have. So Steve, hold on. I'm a logical guy, okay?
Okay.
So here's what I want to know from you. Why is it that you won't take the part in the video where Jaren says that it doesn't go behind the mountain, which by the way is south? So the reason I mention that is because the sun would have to set in that direction on a flat earth. So because it would be like over Australia in the south.
I don't know whether I don't know whether I'm still live, Will, but it seems to be cracking quite a lot, buddy. I don't know what's happening with Will, guys. Whether I'm still live, I don't know. But he seems to have disappeared on us. Hi, Will, are you there? Hi, Will, are you there? Hey,
I'm back, and I
you're
have.
back.
Sorry, everybody. I brought someone with me. Hey, Jaron.
What's up, guys?
Hey, how are you, man?
Good. Let me get my
Cool.
camera.
I got a crazy one for you.
Okay, I'm ready. Crazy one.
Steve, your camera turned off, by the way. So Steve here is a flat earther from England,
Okay.
and
Hang on.
I had him on our channel before we went to Antarctica,
I remember.
and he said that if we live streamed at midnight and the sun was there, that he would admit he was wrong. We have him back on right now, and he's claiming that you left subliminal messages in your videos that the sun actually set, and that you're being pressured into lying about the 24-hour sun.
Why would you say that, Steve?
Hi, Jaron. Have you been watching from the beginning?
I have not watched your guys' show today.
Yeah.
No, I just
No, I
texted
expect
Jaron and
it.
asked if he could come on to help me out. So he has
wow.
not been watching.
Fantastic. Okay. So, Jaron, what was missed was respect to you from 2017. I watched your debunking of the Mawson 24-hour sun with the flags and the time lapse showing, and I wrote to you and I said that was one of the best debunks I've ever seen. And when you wrote that letter to Mawson's, and they wrote back and they said, "Oh, we didn't have enough bandwidth" or something, and that was their
I
excuse
remember
for.
that.
Yeah, so you did a brilliant job there. So what I've been saying, Jaron, is that what's been happening is that for whatever reason, I say you were got at, that I could see in your body language that you were almost like crying, and you were in the announcement when all of you guys lined up in front of the cameras to say your piece. You were very emotional and you hid it very well. But you weren't forthcoming you weren't eloquent in saying that there was a 24-hour sun. You went around the houses, and then when you went around and did your little piece around using your camera, you explained about the sun rising, and then you said it set, and then you moved very quickly on to um, another bit of information, and then in another video you went from cutting from riding your bike to then a random conversation with an ALE representative. I think it might have been somebody from your crew, and they were talking about how the sun was rising, and then you cut it. And what I've just said to Will, and this has caused a bit of a storm, is that I say that you know the game. You've been in the game for a long time. You know how it works. I say that you were pressured into this, and that you left little telltale clues that were saying, I might be pressured into this. That Whitsitt did the same. Whitsitt did the same. You were pressured into this, but you're not going to go away without leaving just a little clue that actually this is the lemon.
No, I don't know where you're getting that from. I mean, if you're talking about pressured into saying what I said, or what do you mean pressured?
No,
into
I mean, like, let's go. Like Will's been having trouble trying to play back the piece that I said, where you said the sun rises, and then you went another couple of words, and then you said it sets, and then he moved quickly on to something else. Will still hasn't played that back yet, and he's been saying it's to do with bandwidth or streaming or whatever. But you clearly say it.
What video is that? What video are we talking about?
The video you're talking about, I'm talking about, is when you say the sun. When you wander around the camp and the sun never sets,
Right.
where the sun does not set.
Oh, that video. Okay. And
Yeah.
in that video, I say it does set.
No. At 1 minute, you can maybe start off. Maybe you can play it back.
Yeah, I'll find it.
Yeah, it's the live Antarctica where the sun doesn't set.
Okay, bring it up. Okay, and so you say I do say it does set.
Yes.
Okay.
And I've got it. I've recorded it on my phone as well.
Sure.
So
yeah, well, the sun did not set. So we flew in on the 14th, and the sun was kind of behind us in the plane. We got a couple shots of that, but it was basically right behind the plane. And then we landed at the runway, and the sun was there with us, and the sun never left until we flew away. The sun just
well, that's okay, Jaron. I'm not worried about that, buddy. I'm worried about your little piece at 1 minute odd.
I'm going there 1 second. Let me go live. and it's called Antarctica, where the sun doesn't set. Okay, 26-minute one. And what timestamp are we going to?
1 minute, about 1 minute. Play from 1 minute 14, 13, whatever.
Sure. Let me listen real quick.
Or to make it even better, Jaron, maybe play it from say 110 so the viewer gets a feel.
Sure. You want me to share it? Hold on 1 second. Let me go to present, share screen, and I need to do an article. This one. Okay, so you should see it there. You got it there, Will? Just on the bottom of the screen, you should see it.
Oh yeah, thanks. There we go.
Good.
Or
Let me put it right here. Well, I'm starting for a minute, just so I can hear.
I don't know what it means. We're a little bit delirious. We haven't slept. We maybe get an hour in here and there. My time lapse is done. You can see here that this is the solar tracking mount, and it has stayed perfect with the sun for the last 24. So, yep, the sun will dip down right here. It doesn't go behind that mountain. Goes right above it. Comes over here. Gets back up high in the north, and then sets. A lot of people were saying something about this isn't.
And then what? Sorry, Jaron.
Glacier is just on the other side.
Let me hear it again. So I said,
Go behind that mountain. Goes right above it. Comes over
Slow
here.
it,
Gets back
slow
up
it
high in
down
the
to
north.
point seven, Jaron.
And then
I'm trying to listen.
Slow it
gets
down
back up high
to
in the
point
north.
7. Sorry, yeah.
What? Go ahead.
Slow it down to 0.75.
then sets. A lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound like I say sets, but as you just heard, so if this is when we're done with the 24-hour time lapse, just so you know, we got maybe 2 hours of sleep each night that we were in Punta Arenas. Then we got.
Jaron, you said it sets, my friend. You said it sets.
I said, and then it's like, I'm not saying it sets. It obviously doesn't set.
Jaron, you said it sets, my friend.
Let me hear it again, because
Yeah,
I
You
don't
might have said since.
Let me hear. Let me go to here 05. But regardless, I'm telling you now that it doesn't set. So if I made it
down right
I've got to
just play it back, Jaron.
Yeah, I put it at 0.5.
here, it doesn't go behind that mountain. Goes right above it.
I mean, I can even hear in my voice that I'm tired.
Comes over here. Gets back up high in the north. And then sets. A lot of people were saying something about this.
Very set.
Yeah,
Jaron, my friend, you said it, buddy.
Oh, so if I said it in that little, when I slipped there and I didn't get any sleep, then that means that it's set.
Okay, buddy. Well, then what about, while you're here, could you explain this one when you go to Antarctic Christmas Eve? Okay.
My video on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then at 1 hour 48 minutes.
Am I bringing this up?
Yes, if you can,
Sure.
buddy.
Let me just hear for 2 seconds. I want to hear what I said right after that. Still called sets. I just want to hear what I said there.
And it has stayed perfect with the sun for the last 24. So, yep. The sun will dip down right here. It doesn't go behind that mountain. Goes right above it. Comes over here. Gets back up high in the north. And then sets. A lot of people were saying something about this isn't near Union Glacier.
Yeah, it sets.
Union Glacier is just on the other side of that.
Yeah, but I mean, there's nowhere for it to set. But go ahead. Now you want me to go to my Christmas Eve special? What time?
If that's all right, Jaron. And so you see, the thing is, my friend, I've been in this game, and you have too, and you know the score. And what I'm saying is, Jaron.
Yes.
I'm just,
let me tell you something that was interesting about this trip. So yeah, I know the score, meaning that I thought certain things would happen. I thought the trip would be canceled. I thought that a lot of things would happen. Here's the surprising thing. Not one person told me what I couldn't say, what I could say. Not one person told me when I couldn't go live, when I could. Not one person said what I couldn't film and what I couldn't. So I had the ability to film anything at any time, go live at any time. So, I mean, that is very open compared to what I would expect if it was some sort of a situation, a closed situation, some sort of set or something. There's no way they would just be giving, go ahead, this guy that we're here to fool, we're just going to let him film whatever he wants to film, go wherever he wants to go. We went driving bikes around that we weren't even given authorization to really do. So, I mean, it's like we kind of had free reign of the place. I'm just saying.
yeah, but Jaron, I'm not arguing any of that, buddy.
Okay.
All I'm saying is, I'm just talking about what you said on film as you walked around.
Okay.
And so the next one was the Antarctic Christmas Eve.
Okay, I'm there.
at 1 hour and 48 minutes. You're on your bike, and so Jaron, just setting it up for the viewers. I'd like to know, play it, and then maybe tell us why you included this, because it just seems incongruous until we know how the game is played. And that I believe that this is a lemon. This is a Gus Grisham lemon that you hung up saying that TFE is a lemon.
Okay. Good. What time am I going to?
1 minute 48.
Right. 1 minute 48 is in the middle of a countdown.
Sorry. 1 hour 48 minutes.
Oh, gotcha.
And you're riding a bike, and then it cuts to a conversation with an ALE representative, I think it is, or it might be one of your own crew.
148.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to reshare it.
Oh,
There
sorry.
you go.
You got it up there?
Yep.
Okay. We didn't have that. We even had this night. This night here, all the employees wanted to learn what we were doing. So they all came to a night session where Duffy spoke, then Owitz and I spoke to the people there, and we got a lot of information to these guys that work there of why we're there and why we thought there was no 24-hour sun. And I explained to them, you guys need to figure out why your Stephen Hawking lied to the world and why Nat Geo lied to the world. Why is that? Why is there no 24-hour cam down here if it circles every fucking day? For what?
Hang on, Jaron. It's what minute are you on now? It might be just before that. It's where you're on a bike.
1 hour 48:24.
Okay, so go back a little bit. It's just when you're on a bike and it cuts to a little. It cuts to an ALE. It might. That's it. You just passed it, Will. You just passed it, Jaron. You're on your bike.
Okay. Oh, here.
That's it. Brilliant. Now, just before you're on this, and I'd like, after we play it, I'd like you to explain why you left this bit in once it's been played back.
Sure. But if there is anything in here that shouldn't be, it's because it's the full footage. But anyway, see if you look straight. I thought the bikes would be a little bit more fun, which they are, as long as you're going downhill. As soon as you go uphill, it's like life sucks.
Isn't on right, it's like an hour, and right at sunrise and right at sun.
That's
So,
it.
hold on 1 second. I'm actually watching my video on my live stream. So this is not the video that people got. The full video is over here. Just, you know, I just can tell by I'm skipping through the video. That's why it's going chop. So what part are you talking about? Because I'll find
it's where you just come off your bike, and then there's an ALE representative. I mean, I don't want to make a mountain out of a molehill. I'm just saying that this is just a little glimpse into. I think Jaron is telling us something. So
I'm going to the bike here. So you're saying it's right after the bike?
Yeah, just play it again, and then we'll just let it play normally.
Yeah, but I'm saying on this screen over here, I can actually watch the whole thing. Because you're basically going to say, is there some, like, this is me skipping through, but I'll play a little bit more fun, which they are, as long as you're going downhill. As soon as you go uphill, it's like life sucks.
Isn't on right, it's like an hour, and right at sunrise and right at sun.
And then you cut it.
What?
And then you cut it. And so what you do is there's a guy talking about sunrise, and then as soon as he goes, and then the sun, and then it gets cut. So all I'm saying is that those two little things, that's just.
Hold on, Steve. I have to deal with this. Jaron, can you rewind to where you're at the table and you can see your hands?
Sure. And just to make sure that you understand this again. So on my live stream on that night of December 24th, I was playing the actual full video file that I have over here. So I have the full video file right here. So if there's anything that I said that you think I cut, we can play the whole thing.
Okay, well that'd be awesome. Then because what I'd like to do is I'd like to be proved wrong, and if I am, then I'll apologise for
right
that.
Here.
But
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Okay, Steve, this is super important.
Yes.
Do you know whose hands those are?
Oh, I'm not worried about the hands, Will.
No. Steve, I didn't say you're worried about the hands. Just answer my question. Do you know whose hands those are? Those are Jaron's.
Yeah,
Jaron is wearing a camera on his chest.
Okay.
So the person that's cut off from saying sunset is Jaron himself. Now, do you happen to recognize that red device or the person holding it? That is Dave McKeegan.
Okay.
he's describing here how an equatorial mount works to Jaren.
Yeah, I can
So
press
they're
play from here.
talking about how the equatorial mount works in general, which tracks
Okay.
the sun from sunrise to sunset.
Okay.
Let me see if it's this part here.
On 15 degrees per hour. Okay, that's all it does, right? So this head will just rotate. If I put it up to,
Not 2356.
well, as in it's rotating at that sort of speed. So
Right.
it might be too cold.
Okay.
But you can set different speeds. So I had it set not on start, I had it solar
Okay.
for the speed of the sun. Okay.
Oh, do you want to be showing this? My bad. 1 second. I'll get this one up there. Present and share screen. And where is that folder? Window, maybe. I never know if you can see this. If I go like this, do you see? Let me just go the entire screen. It'd be easier. There we go. So this is kind of the same spot. It looks like you were talking about, right? So I'm. I think I put my hands on the desk right here in a second. So I'll just press play from here.
So all this does is this whole section here.
Guys, listen, this is going into what we're doing is they're wasting time. I mean, it's fine, you know, like we can. I know what I've clipped from your what you put up online, which is what you wanted to see, and I've got it.
And
So
it would be impossible. You're making it sound like I was able to, because I was skipping through a video. Anything that you're picking out of that is just because I'm skipping through a video showing it to my audience.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it was live anyway. So and when you did it,
Yep.
but what I wanted to say, Jaren, was that that I've saved the clip, and for those that understand how these things work, it just didn't look very. It doesn't look very good, and that's all. I'm just saying that it was a lemon that was left. That I think that underneath it all, you don't wholeheartedly believe in what you participated in. In fact, I don't think you believe it at all.
See, well, what do I think that the sun was that I saw for 4 days?
Okay, well, I mean, you know, we can. Can we move on to Mmun, because he was a massive.
Hey, Steve, hold on. This is important, okay?
Yeah. Okay.
You were claiming something like I'm like holding Jaren hostage here and forcing him to say certain things. You have the man here himself. Ask him whatever you want.
Well, okay. So, I won't ask Jaren this, but like, what I'll say to Jaren is that when you were wheeled out, not wheeled out, when you all came out and you said your piece, Whitsitt, it was really telling that Whitsitt, he said, he made this joke and people did this sort of forced laugh. But what he said was, he said, the guns are behind the camera, and
Right.
this is the stage. And there was this kind of muted laugh. But anyone who knows what body language is and how people talk in these situations, which it was giving us a massive clue that he's there under duress. It is a stage, the whole world's a stage, and he was on there and he was just performing, and it gradually, you know, poor old Whitsitt, he's disappeared. I don't know where he is right now, but
Disappeared. He's been all over. He's been. He was on my show last night. He was
good.
on his own
Okay,
show.
good. Well, I haven't had time
Well,
to
but
look
you're
at your
just you're
chart.
saying things you like when you say something and you're wrong. You're just like move past that.
Okay, no. Well, I apologise because Whitsitt is a prolific. He's a prolific content creator, and he's not been around for a long time. You know, so I'm glad that he's back and he's okay.
He did a whole stream for 4.5 hours last night, and then he was
Yeah,
also
good.
on my stream.
Okay.
Hey,
Good.
Steve, the guy that Jaren was talking to is now on with us, Dave McKeegan.
Gosh, this is
Hi,
getting.
Steve.
All... Hello, mate.
So yeah, just so you know, Steve, Dave, can you describe the conversation you were having with Jaren at the table about the equatorial mount?
Yeah, so the equatorial mount was the bread device that I had set up. I'd already had it set up at that point, tracking the sun for 24 hours. And then I was having a conversation with Jaren when we were back at the main camp, because I wanted to explain to him how it was working, or how it worked and how it tracked the sun, because it can't work on a flat earth. So I was sat down with him explaining it. And I think possibly the part of the conversation that you heard was me talking about it can track the sun 24 hours a day. And if you set it up at the equator on the equinox, that you would get it from sunrise in the east all the way up overhead till sunrise, till sunset in the west, and then it would track right the way down, pointing at the ground, and then it would pick the sun back up in the east in the day. And how did that fit with a flat Earth? So I think that's the part of the conversation you heard, was me talking about sunrise and sunset on the equinox, not in Antarctica.
Okay, well, Jaron cut it in a judicious place. That's all I'm saying about that. But Dave, now that you're on, I'd like to ask. Can I ask you a couple of questions, because you were asked in the live feed. There were quite a few things, because I watched all of your live feed as well, and I'm looking out for body language here. You see, so you were asked, would you sign an affidavit to say that you've seen a 24-hour sun? And it kind of threw you. And anybody who can go back and see your live feed, it kind of threw you, because I don't think you were reading it through. And then you said, well, I'm sure that I've seen a 24-hour sun unless I was dreaming it. Now, you see, for me, when I look at this body language, I say to myself, you would go, of course I've seen it. I've just filmed it. I've been up 24 hours and I've seen it, but you never did that. And then later, in your last video that you uploaded, Dave, right? Not the one where you just showed just the film, but it was you on film. You couldn't even bring yourself, when you study the words that you used, Dave, you were very careful. You couldn't from your heart say that you'd witnessed a 24-hour sun, and you gave us a 25-minute preamble on your telescopes, on how it works and everything, and on the way that you mount them. But you did not say, and at one point, I have witnessed the 24-hour sun. It's blown my mind, and all flat earthers, they need to understand this, and they need to hear quite clearly that we have witnessed and got it in the Kansas 24-hour sun. None of you have done that. None of you have done that. And McToon, watching him go around the town, was just, he was saying we carried out experiments, we did this and that. He didn't once say, we've captured the 24-hour sun. He went on about magnetism and things like that, and just spurious arguments. He didn't once say, we've got those flatties, we've captured the 24-hour sun. And I say he couldn't bring himself to say it because he didn't do it.
Okay, Steve, if I may just interject here.
I'll stop now.
So you say my body language and none of us would admit it. At the point that Will's camera hit 24 hours of recording the Antarctic sun, I was hosting a live stream that I've entitled "The 24-Hour Sun Has Been Captured in Antarctica." Yeah. I'm not entirely sure how you can perceive that as me not acknowledging the 24-hour sun. To your point about the affidavit, bear in mind a couple of things here. I'm sure you sitting right there at your house right now, having seen it and dwelled on it all, you'd say, yeah, I'll sign an affidavit. At that point, I hadn't slept in 45 hours.
And I get that.
I could barely see the screen for the sunlight shining off it, so I wasn't entirely sure if I'd even read the comment correctly. And then please also bear in mind two things. Number one, it's very difficult to tell from a comment whether the comment is being sarcastic and taking the mick or whether it's a genuine question. And I struggle to answer anything without being sarcastic myself. So when I'm doing a live stream that is talking about me having just captured the 24-hour sun, and then someone asks, would I sign an affidavit to say, have I seen a 24-hour sun? I'm going to be sarcastic about the answer.
Okay. So then, Dave.
My question real quick, though. If you believe that this is like some, wouldn't you rather ask me and for me to tell you that it absolutely 100% the sun circles the south? That we need to, here's what we need to do. As flat earthers, we need to accept that and now go back to the drawing board and make a map.
But then you see, okay, so my answer would be, Jaron, is that there are people who I'm going to be interviewing who are saying that they have stayed much further down parallels than you guys, where there is no 24-hour sun in over the periods of November, December, and January.
Yeah, but where would they be staying if they're staying further than we were? Because there's no camps. There's no camps further south than we were besides the South Pole. So they're saying they went to the South Pole. Or
what about McMurdo?
That's way on the outside. That's by the coast.
Well, that's when you look at the parallels. You're what you 79?
79 and a half. Yeah.
Yeah, and look at McMurdo.
It's not within, it's not a lower number than that, or it's not more than 79 and a half, I don't think. Let me see. Murdo is at
77.
yeah, it looks like
It's McMurdo is not as far south as we were.
so. I mean, there is periods of time where I'm sure, just like this place, right? If it's not, but you said November, December, and January. I mean, I believe all 3 of those months would be the sun would not set.
Is that so? So you're saying that the sun doesn't set, and so you would be able to sort of, I don't know, how would you say it, before the Lord, that before God you
I
would
swear on everything, on my 2 sons, on my wife, on my family, on my dead mom's grave.
Okay.
That the sun circled for 4 days when I was there. So, I mean, if you're asking me, do I have to swear that it does it for 4 months? No, because it might be 3 months.
No, I wouldn't. No, I wouldn't ask you to swear, because it's about let your yes be yes and your no be no.
Well, my yes is yes.
Yeah. See, because
circle. It's the sun too. I mean, people have been saying, "Oh, could it have been a plasma ball or something?" It's like, no. And on my GoPro footage, I burn pieces of paper with a magnifying glass with the sun in the north, and then I do it with the sun in the south. It's identical. And when it was in the south, it was cold and windy, and it still was able to burn the paper.
Well, can I just ask you, Jaron, why did you say that it sets?
I don't know. I don't even. That's what I said. I'd have to listen to it. I don't know if I was just kind of rambling off there.
I'm going to jump in here, guys. People have been sending me messages. Jaron said, since a lot of people are saying this wasn't near Union Glacier, he said since, not sets.
Maybe you'll come listen again.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay. Okay. Well, that makes more sense.
Hey, Steve.
You see, Dave, from my point of view, my friend, what and this is to Jaron, to Dave, to Mmun, and to Will. What we've not seen, what the flat earthers haven't seen from any of you guys, is wholehearted rejoicing that you've captured a setting sun. That you've captured a sun that stays up for 24 hours.
Why would I rejoice at that? I was pissed off.
I'm
pretty sure. Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I mean, I wasn't going to be gloating so much, but during the stream, I jumped on Toon stream that was done in the early hours of the morning. We were talking about the fact that the sun had hit solar midnight. It was at its lowest point and coming back up, so hadn't set. I mentioned about it multiple times in my live stream. And then when we got back to Punta Arenas, we did another live stream into the early hours of the morning. And I even put a post up on my community feed the day we got back to Punta Arenas, joking that the sun had finally set.
Well, so, I mean, what I'm going by, guys, is the body language that all of you individually exhibited was just deep uncomfortableness. And so that's all I can go by, because I don't have to go by all of, were there footprints, blah, blah, blah. I'm not interested in that. What I study is body language. And none of you guys have comfortably been able to come in front of camera and talk about it. And Dave, you were asked quite a few uncomfortable questions, and you became uncomfortable about it. And I've listed them all. I don't want to go... But it's about how people respond in the natural, and there was nothing really natural about how you guys came across after capturing what should have been a fantastical thing. It's not really come across to us on the flat side that it's been genuine, that there's been something missing. It's been all packaged,
Okay then, Steve, if we may talk about body language here, because I've been watching this stream now for the full 2.5 hours. If I may judge your body language, so far you've not actually managed to talk about the 24-hour Antarctic sun. You've not managed to address anything about it. You've constantly diverted the conversation away from actually talking about us being in Antarctica. That to me speaks a whole lot about, your body language there speaks a whole lot about things. So if we want to judge body language, you know, we can go both ways with this here. So let me ask you just bluntly, right? When we were live streaming, the live stream that I did, that Jaren did, that Austin did, that MC Toon did, Critical Think, do you believe we were actually in Antarctica when those went out?
Oh yes, absolutely. Because I did all the maths about it. You know, like I knew you were flying 4 hours step. Yeah, of course, absolutely.
Perfect. So
yeah,
perfect. So the 24-hour time lapse that I posted, do you think that's fake?
What you mean that?
The 25-minute, 360-degree time lapse of us at halfway point with the sun going all the way around us. Do you think that was fake or not?
I don't believe it. No.
You don't believe the
No,
360 was genuine?
Based on my other observations about how you all were out there and the whole background to it and the whole
yeah,
how it was
okay,
set
fine.
up.
No, that's fine. So the time lapse was fake, but all the live streams were real, because every one of the live streams you can see happen in the time lapse, and the live streams took place at multiple points throughout the day. The sun is pretty much in all 4 directions during at least one of our live streams. Will's was done at midnight. MC Toons was done at about 3 in the morning. The drone debunk was done while the sun was in the north. And
Well,
you've just acknowledged those live streams all actually happened, and you believe they were real, and the sun was in near enough every point in the sky.
Okay.
So
well,
how was the sun? When did the sun set?
Right. No. I want to talk about body language again, if you don't mind. So
I don't care about body language, Steve. This was a question about the 24-hour sun, not body language.
No,
body language doesn't count. We didn't get any sleep the whole week.
No, and I get that, guys. I absolutely get that. But you see, Mmun in his last day around Punta Arenas, okay, he was summarising the whole point of the trip. Okay. We got Mmun.
Sorry, Steve.
Fantastic.
I got receipts, brother.
Fantastic. Mmun, delighted to meet you, my friend. I need to ask you, and please let's not descend into shouting and calling me a liar. And it's like, I'll respect your space and you respect mine.
I'll respect you after you respect me.
Okay. Well, fine, mate. Fine. So, the whole point of me wanting to talk about Mmun was that here's the first thing: you summarised the trip, and it's all live on your feed. You were wandering around Punta Arenas, and I'm thinking, come on, Mmun, you've been there, you've captured the 24-hour sun, you can smash the flatties, which is what you want to do, basically. And your whole channel is all about destroying flatards and eating their own shit, or eating their own. You didn't say the word shit, but so that's your raison d'etre as far as flat earth is concerned. So I was thinking, this is Toon's perfect opportunity as he's going around Punta Arenas summarising the last week, and he's saying, and we got some experiments down, and you went to magnetism, and you went to how the magnetism increases. And I'm thinking, come on, Toon, come out with it. And we captured the 24-hour sun. You didn't even say it. And that's the most majestic thing that you could have said to squash us all. You didn't say a word about it. And I say you didn't say a word, Toon, because you couldn't, because it just didn't happen. And that's what I mean about body language. You weren't able to come out and say it.
That's enough. Now, when I'm talking, don't interrupt me, okay?
Okay, fine.
Okay. You did not respect me. You don't have enough respect to call me by my name.
Well, so, I don't have your name other than Toon.
Shut up.
Shut up. Okay.
Shut up. Don't interrupt me. Don't call me by the wrong name. If you want to pretend to respect me, you will call me by the right name. And if you're too stupid to figure it out, that's on you, because you don't have any respect for me. So don't interrupt.
What is your right name? What is your right name?
I'm not going to tell you. Go do your own research. Got it?
Okay.
I already had declared that I got the 24-hour sun. In that particular video that was not live, I wasn't gloating about having gotten the 24-hour sun. I had already addressed that I had recorded the 24-hour sun. So the fact that you didn't see me talk about it in that video doesn't mean I hadn't already done it. So I had already done it, and I have right now the 300 and something gigabyte file ready to share. If I can share this.
Fine. But in your
Stop
stop
talking. Stop talking. No, this is my truth. Okay, you waffle on and on and on. Tired of it.
Gosh, there's enough people here now. I must have caused a bit of a storm, mustn't I?
Stop talking.
Steve, let me just say one thing that's bothering me about this whole thing is that people are saying, "Oh, Jaron, you would have said it was fake too." There's a difference between saying the moon landing is fake when we've got a military crew there that's got one feed that you have to take a film off of a CRT monitor at NASA's facility. This is 10 people who all have their own cameras that are all simultaneously recording and live streaming from Antarctica. You can watch my chest cam footage. We fly 4 hours into Antarctica. So
I'm not disputing where you went, Jaron. Seriously.
What you're disputing then is that we got somewhere. The sun must have set. It must have got dark. We all just hid out while it was dark, I guess. And then there was a fake sun that we filmed going around the us for 24 hours.
No, you see, this is the thing is, guys, and this is where God doesn't let us down, because I don't know how you did it, right? I don't know how it was done. But what I do know is that I understand body language, and none of you, and I'm going to be bringing us a video to show this, and maybe this is going to gain a lot of traction. I'm going to be demonstrating and proving to you how your body language did not match what the victory that you were supposed to have achieved. You were, and it's just like what it reminded me of when I was watching you guys. It reminded me of
waffling. Enough waffling.
No, don't interrupt me, please, and then I'll let you finish. Stop
waffling, Steve.
What it reminded me of is when they wheeled out Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, and Michael Collins to the post.
Well, I would agree with you. But I was
at press conference, and what happened was this man said to those three, he said, "Can you please tell us what does it mean for mankind landing on the moon?" And you saw there was about a minute, and all their faces, they just dropped. They didn't want to look at each other. And then Neil Armstrong says, "Do you want to go first?" And then he said no.
I remember that.
The body language was just horrible to look at. And you guys, none of you have been comfortable about it. None of you.
I was very uncomfortable. I told these people that the sun set. I told these people that it wouldn't circle. So when we realized it does, and then Duffy says, "Hey, I'm going to do a live stream. I want you guys to come up and speak." That's not a comfortable situation for me. That's a very uncomfortable situation.
It's actually
no. In fact, just to expand on that, what you will notice, Steve, is if you watch that live stream back through when Will invites everyone up voluntarily to come up, and the order that it went: Mark Herman, Glober; Critical Think, Glober; me, Glober; Mike, Glober, and then very reluctantly, Jaron, Lisbeth, Austin, and Jonathan. The Flat Earthers did not want to go in front of that live stream because, like Jaron said, no wonder he was emotional. He'd gone in there absolutely convinced that the sun would set, and it didn't. His entire worldview had just been ripped from underneath him. So of course he was emotional. You say our body language, like we should be gloating. We were the ones actively jumping to go on the bleeding live stream to talk about it. Now, if we want to talk about body language, do you not think our body language right here, the fact that the three people you are accusing of lying have all jumped onto this stream to come and call your bullshit out?
No, I think it's interesting that what started out as a conversation between Will and me, with Jaron saying that the sun sets, has now developed into all the big players coming out, Will making a phone call, which is great. It's going to be made for great TV. But what I'm saying is, I'm maintaining that none of you, there's been no victory parade. You left individually. You know, Mmun was wandering around Puntas Arenas listing all the things. Come on, Mmun, say it. And I know you've addressed it, and you're saying, what have the Flat Earthers got? They've got nothing. So Mmun, you had all the time in the world to say, and we got the 24-hour sun. Bang, it's in the bag, boys, and come back and you can all talk about it. I know you're making a documentary individually, but guys, you've lost the opportunity to show unity of ball earthness by saying we've got it in the bag. None of you have demonstrated any any a genuineness about it at all, guys. And that's the thing. I know you're laughing, Dave, but I've got lots of clips of you.
We literally did a live stream at midnight saying the sun hasn't set, and you think we weren't sort of making a big song and dance about it.
Dave, please don't diss me on this one, because there's a difference between the midnight sun and a 24-hour sun. I know that. And you see,
yeah, when it gets to solar midnight, that is as low as the sun goes. If it hasn't set at solar midnight, newsflash, it ain't setting.
Okay,
I'm gonna go. Thank you, guys.
So here's my question to you.
Thanks,
now,
Jared.
Will. I'd just like to talk to Will.
Can I get back to my? I was interrupted. Can I get back to where I was going? Please. All right. I can tell from your body language right now, Steve, that you don't want me to present what I'm about to present. Your body language is telling everybody that your constant interruption is you attempting to avoid the evidence that's going to destroy you. That's the body language I see from you.
To destroy me.
Stop talking. Unless interrupt if you want your body language to inform everybody that you're scared. Okay.
I'm not scared of anybody.
Your body language is telling us, is informing everybody that you're scared. Now here is, stop talking. All right, Steve. This is a 380 gigabyte file. I can't even upload it to YouTube. I have to re-render it. But I can show it in VLC on my computer here. So there you see the sun, right? On the ground here, you see two lines. The one on the left is due south. The one on the right was it was incorrect. It was we amended it. So the correct one is that straight one on the left there. That we scraped in the snow using a shovel because the snow is hard packed. That's why you don't see a lot of footprints there. But you do see footprints when we walk around. So that's due south. So if you look up there, the mountain there where there's that white patch on it, that's where due south is, a little bit to the right of that. So here's this video. I'll move it ahead. This is the 24-hour sun in Antarctica. Oh, it's slow. Give it a second. So, Steve, this is what I'm doing. And body language isn't evidence. Evidence is evidence. This is what I'm talking about. If you want to think that the sun sets, get off your butt and go there next year. Go there this year. You can still go. Save up your money and get your butt there.
Okay, so the question I'd like to ask you guys is that when we're
just avoiding the topic here.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, please let me on. I'm not avoiding the topic. When Will originally interviewed me, we agreed that there would be a protocol put in place that as a person who distrusts the whole visit, that in order to show that it was live, that Will would phone me between 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning UK.
I don't hear him.
Oh,
no, I've
it's
lost
improved.
There's a stream. That's it's gone now. Okay, so basically, Will agreed that he would phone me between the hours of 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the morning. Okay, because then I would ask him to pick up his phone and he would be able to demonstrate and go and make sure that it was recording. And I could see, and there would be an independent verification who's not part of your gang, but independently be able to say, yeah, gosh, I can see that. And if I can see that, my goodness, I'm going to be have to rethink a load of things. Will never phoned me. Okay, so I texted him. I was waiting for Will to phone me, and I could hear all this going on. Will then phoned me. I'm sorry. I then texted Will. No text reply. Texted again, maybe 4 o'clock. Nothing. Texted once more, nothing. Then at 5 o'clock, I emailed him and said, Will, what's going on? And so the next day, right, Will, the next morning said, I'm sorry, Steve, I couldn't contact you because my phone was on loan for the Candace Owens live link. So I was thinking, well, I've been blown out before, but not by Candace Owens before. That what a remarkable thing for me to be known by. But the point was that Will was supposed to phone me, and what an ideal opportunity for Will to phone me and say to me, "Here we are, Steve, as agreed, a gentleman's agreement on video. I'm phoning you." And Will says, "Oh, I'm sorry, my phone was lent out for the Candace Owens live link." And I said, "Well, Will, you know." But he said, "Well, I didn't get your number." That's a nonsense. If you're gonna do something, you say you're gonna do something, you do it. And Will, you let me down big style. And lots of people are really questioning that you didn't
Hey,
phone me when
Steve.
you said you were going to.
Steve, did I offer to phone you the next
Yes.
night at midnight, and did you accept my offer?
Yes, Will.
No,
yes.
you did not.
Will, it's
Steve.
all on there on the previous video. You said you would contact me between the hours of
I've got receipts, Will, on screen right now.
Steve, what I'm showing on screen right now is Will's phone on a tripod shooting the 24.
Right, hang on. Hang on. What I am showing you right there is Will's phone in the middle of recording the live stream for Candace Owens, because that was the only way that he could do it, and they'd agreed that they would do a 24-hour live stream for Candace Owens. Now, if we want to talk about stick to words, I'm pretty sure the agreement that you had in place was, if we go to Antarctica and see a 24-hour sun, you'll admit you were wrong, and I'm still waiting to hear it.
No, Dave, because that means you haven't watched my video. Because in the video, what I said was, and Will invited me because he said this is interesting, and I've not heard this argument before, that Will would use me as an independent source, and he would phone me between the hours of 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning, go round the site with his phone and show us it, and he never did it.
He would have done it the next day, and you blocked him.
What?
Did you or did you not? Did he offer to phone you the next day?
Yes, but by that time,
did you accept the phone call the next day?
No, Dave, and I didn't. And you know why?
So you haven't got an argument.
No,
he couldn't phone you because
Dave.
of.
Dave, don't get cross. Don't get cross. I have got an
Don't
argument.
talk shit then.
Because I wrote back to Will and I said, Will, I can't trust you because you never did the simple thing, have an independent person to corroborate what was going on. You never did it. And so that's a critical thing in science. If you can't do that. You can't do that. You can't promise to do something and then not do it. And he didn't do it.
So him phoning you at the time, that would have been acceptable to you, but him referencing you in the live stream that went out just after that and explaining how he couldn't phone you, that apparently doesn't validate things for you.
And that's a whole other thing, you see, Dave, because what Will did, and this is all about body language again. You actually watch this as it unfolds, because just prior to Will referencing me, he peers down at his computer and he goes, somebody's trying to talk with me, and obviously because they're talking with me, this must be live. Okay, now everyone knows that you can buy instant chat generator software, and you can buy all of that. Let's not beat around the bush. Instant chat can be bought, and it's called, and you just type in fake instant chat generator. You can buy it. It's just a little bit of JavaScript. So Will then makes that point, and then what he does is he says, and Steve, if you're looking, and he points at the sun or whatever, but he hasn't phoned me. It doesn't matter what you say. He did not do as he agreed to do in front.
And he
didn't do.
He offered to phone you the next day. So why did you not accept the phone call the next day?
But Dave, by that time, I'd witnessed.
Well, by that time, the sun's magically disappeared.
No. By that time, I'd witnessed enough. Of you guys getting gaggling together to realise I couldn't trust you guys because you didn't.
Right.
Will didn't do what he
body
said.
language is lying, telling us that he's lying.
Yeah,
that's what Steve's
lying. I think so too. I think body language is saying you're full of shit here, Steve.
Yeah.
No. Listen to me clearly. Will agreed.
Oh, no, I'm watching your body language. I'm not listening to your
Will agreed that he would contact me.
You're obviously lying, Steve.
Will agreed he would contact me, and he didn't. And he agreed in front of, I don't know how many. I think it's about 15,000 people have seen it. He agreed that he would contact me in order for me to validate that he was doing it live at the time that he said he was doing it, because I had arguments to say why it couldn't be done. And Will never phones me.
Let the
Great.
record
What are your
show,
arguments that it couldn't be done?
Let the record
Will-
show, Steve, that I never said I would
Huh?
contact you the
No,
first
I'm
midnight
just-
that we were there.
Will, you said you would contact me between the hours of 3 and 5 o'clock in the morning, and that you would
On
do
what
that
day?
in order to. Dave, please please stop obfuscating. Will agreed to do something, and he didn't do it. And what he did was, instead of
All
not
you do
doing
is have
it,
to state.
he referenced me. He referenced Dave. He referenced me in the video, and he said, "Hey, Steve, and if you, I don't know if you're watching this." Been phoning me. He shouldn't have been referencing me. He should have been doing what he agreed to do as a gentleman's agreement, and that creates a whole bit of doubt going on in my mind and in a lot of other people's minds as to why Will didn't phone.
When did he reference you? When did he reference you that you're talking about?
He referenced me in your little bit when you all wheeled out and you all said and you hugged Will and you thanked him for the trip and you thanked him for the blah 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 blah. He
Right.
referenced
So in the
me.
midnight stream, before he was due to phone you anyway.
He was meant to Dave. He was meant to phone me, and he never did.
When? What time did he agree to phone you?
Between the hours of 3 o'clock and 5 o'clock in that morning, which would have been midnight Ushua time, and he never did it. And he agreed on film that he would do it.
So he referenced you before the deadline of when he'd agreed to phone you in the time frame of assuming that we're talking about that time anyway.
Dave, he never did. It was a gentleman's agreement. He said, that's a great idea, Steve. I'll do that. And he never did it.
Great.
He never did it.
Great. So he said he would phone you between the hours of 3 a.m. and 5 a.m. UK time. Yes. So midnight to 2 a.m. Union Glacier. Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Right. Okay. So he went live at midnight the first day we were there and referenced you. Before the 2 a.m. deadline, he'd referenced you.
Dave, he was supposed to phone me. He was supposed to phone me on site while he was doing all of this. And at the time that he was supposed to be phoning me, instead of phoning me and getting my number and saying that Candace Owens had his phone, he could have easily lifted my number, because this would be an ideal opportunity to phone a flatty and flatten him, and he never did it. And that raises.
So how is he going to pull your number off? How is he going to pull your number off a phone that is in the middle of a live stream?
Because what he does is he thinks ahead and he thinks, I've had this conversation with Steve, and I actually admired Steve for that suggestion, and I went online and I said to him, Steve, that's a great idea. I really like that and I respect you for that. All of those things, he said that. But so what he would have done, what I would have done as a gentleman, I would have taken Will's phone number, I would put it on a different phone, and I would let Candace Owens use my phone, whatever, and I would have phoned him on a different phone using that number. And it doesn't matter what Will says, he never did what we asked him to do in order to make sure that it wasn't in the can already. And he never did it.
Okay, great. Can I just point something out here? Okay.
Yeah.
Flat earthers are supposed to think the earth is stationary and not moving, and yet you seem to be talking like you think the world is revolving around you. Okay. Let me just point out to you, okay? Will had a lot of shit on his plate to be trying to deal with all at once, right? The pressure he was under, you could see the stress and anxiety in him. I could, at least, because I was actually there, of him wanting to get to the camp, get everything set up, the panic of, is his cameras working? Is my solar camera tracking? Is Jaren and Austin getting their stuff ready? Shit, we need to get a live stream going for Candace Owens. Do you not think it's possible that maybe Will didn't consider the call to you until after he'd already set his phone up doing a live stream, at which point, oh no, too late to get your number. I know, I'll call him the next day. But by that point, you'd already thrown your toys out of the pram.
No, Dave, I didn't throw my toys out the pram at all. All of what you're saying would make sort of sense if I was going to have sympathy for somebody who agreed that they would do something over such an important issue, because TFE has been worldwide, it's been on the front pages of all the newspapers, and this was a protocol to put into place to make sure that somebody independent, albeit I'm not qualified, but I like to think I've got a brain, I would be able to say to Will, yeah, Will, you've shown me live, you're talking to me live. He didn't do it. He referenced me instead, and he said, "And Steve, if you
He was
watch
in a
it,
live stream. You could have put a
Dave,
chat in.
Dave,
You could have put a
Dave,
super chat in the comments of one of the
Dave,
live streams. That
Dave.
verifies it was happening at the time. You don't
Yes.
need a personal fucking phone call
Yeah,
from the
Dave,
other side of the globe.
yes, it does, Dave, because that's what the agreement was, in order to make sure that this couldn't be falsified and that it could be validated. And I would at least go, and what a perfect opportunity for Will, who wants to get the ball earth established, what a perfect opportunity for him to flatten the ball, round, flatten flat earth, even flatter than it is, and crush it and put the ball in place. He never phoned me, and that was a classic. For me, that was a not a good thing that he did at all.
So why, if it was such a big deal to you here, why did you not accept the phone call between the same hours the next morning, while we were still in Antarctica, while you could still verify that the sun was burning bright up there in the sky? He never said he would phone you specifically the first day. He said he would phone you during the early hours of the morning, because that is when the sun is at its lowest point. He would have done it the next day. You refused. Why?
I refused to do it. And what I did was I wrote an email to Will, and I said, Will, I can't trust you as far as I throw an elephant. Remember that, Will? I'm sure you do.
Yeah, it read like a temper tantrum.
Well, no, Will, I said, I was quite clear about it. I said, Will, I can't trust you as far as I can throw an elephant. And
All right.
previously,
Maybe we could talk about evidence here instead of his.
No, hang on, Mmun, because I'm not
social
talking to you, man. I'm just addressing this issue that
social interactions. We get it.
So basically, my thing is that Dave has just said, can't I accept that Will was under tremendous pressure? I can accept that, but you see, Will had the presence of mind to peer into the laptop and go, well, it must be live because I'm interacting with somebody live. And then he talks to me. So he says, hey, Steve from the UK, if you're watching this, he knows exactly, he knew exactly what he was doing. He left me out of the equation and he referenced me instead. And he should have spoken to me live, and he didn't do it. And that for me is like not a good thing to do. It's not a.
You didn't let him. You blocked him.
What?
You blocked him. You
I didn't block him at all. I was waiting for his call.
Yeah, the next day. Yeah.
And I texted him. I texted him 3 times. You know. So as far as I'm concerned, my little bit that I could add to this to make it so that it could be made a little bit more tighter would be for me to live from the other side of the world be able to say to Will, yeah, Will, I can see it, mate. And you've kept your word. You phoned me. This is live, and therefore it's not in the can already. It is live, and you've been able to prove it. And what a great way for Will to actually prove that.
Was there a day, a specific day that he committed to
yes.
call you?
And have a look at. Just please have a look at it. I went to bed every night with my phone by the side of my bed because I didn't know your exact timetable, and maybe you didn't either. I went to bed with my phone. With my phone next to me every night.
On that specific day, you weren't crying about it because you didn't know what specific.
I'm not crying about it, Mmun, please.
So then,
Will didn't phone me.
Did try to call you and you didn't answer. Why not?
That's not true.
Oh, Will, did you try to call him the next night?
Yeah, my phone number was blocked.
Oh,
that's I can't believe that you're saying that. I can't. Will, that's a terrible thing to say. I emailed you. Why would I block you? Why would I block you? I've got your phone number written down in my. Will, that's a bad thing to say. I never blocked you, and I wouldn't. I'm straight with my communications. I would never block you, Will, and I haven't done.
Yeah, well, I remember you talking about that, that you were trying to get a hold of him and that you were unable to make the call. Like it wasn't, he wasn't taking the call.
That's right. And the text came through as undeliverable.
Yeah, we had it on screen a little bit ago.
I'm sorry, I can't. So anyway, so this is what I'm faced with. So
well, I mean, You're exposed here, Steve. I mean, this is a pretty bad look for you.
I'm exposed. What, for waiting for a phone call from Will that he promised, and then he gave the phone to Ken?
He tried to call.
Okay.
He did. Yeah.
Okay.
And I mean, your body language is telling everybody everything we need to know.
What, that I'm lying?
Yep. Got it. If you want, I've got the sun due south. If you want to look at it, my view.
Guys, can't you see that this is what this is epitomising is the battle. This is the battle.
Steve, your body language is telling us you're scared.
I've been now accused of lying.
All the body language.
I'm accused of.
I mean, we can all just play the make whatever accusations about body language game we want, right? Because it's all completely subjective, and you can pre-select your conclusion and then declare that somebody else's body language matches your pre-selected conclusion. You know, that's definitely how to figure out the shape of the Earth. Right?
This is a battle, isn't it? Guys, I'm really gutted. I'm really gutted, Will, that you said I blocked you.
All right, so Steve, so here is the sun. That sun is due south. You can see the lines down there on the ground. I can zoom in a little bit. You see the lines there? That's the line that's due south. And look, there's the sun due south. So there it is. About 2:30 a.m. The sun is due south. So there's the actual thing that people that are looking for truth would want to see. This is the sun due south. This isn't subjective body language. This is actual hard objective evidence, things that you could then go do yourself. You could go and stand in this very same spot and see if the sun sets. You could do it next year on the same day and see if the sun sets. But no, you want to look at body language instead of actual evidence, right? Because you don't have evidence. You don't have evidence. This is the problem with flat Earth. Flat Earth doesn't have evidence. So it's always about the not evidence. Let's not talk about evidence. Let's talk about something else. So be very clear. You do not prove the sun sets in Antarctica by not going to Antarctica. You would need to go to Antarctica for that. I did. The sun did.
We have tons of evidence.
Guys, I think it's telling. I have to say, I think it's telling, and this represents sort of like either Daniel in the lion's den or David and Goliath, that this conversation, since me saying that Jaron said the sun sets, and Will downing tools and going off and obviously making a few phone calls and looking at the evidence himself, and Jaron now having to say, well, maybe I didn't say it, or well, maybe I did say it, but now I've got 5 of the key players suddenly all in front of me. So Will's made some phone calls and said, guys, you need to get on here because we've entered dangerous territory. And this is what I mean by this. This is the spirit of the nature. You guys want to flatten, you want to obliterate God's creation. That's what you want to do. You want to obliterate.
No, Steve, I suggested to Will that me and Toon come onto the stream because we knew we could see it from a few mile off that you were about to call us liars, and we thought it'd be better if you'd call it to our faces.
Hey, Steve, can I talk to you for a sec? Can you hear me?
Who is it? Sorry.
It's Witsit.
Oh, hi, Witsit.
What's up?
Oh,
man?
yeah, Witsit. Witsit, pleased to meet you, my friend.
Yeah, back at you, man. So I heard you say that you were looking at my body language or something, and you thought that I was duressed. Can you kind of lay out to me what you think is going on here? You think that we were coerced or threatened or something?
Witsit, what I think is, you see, on a stage where a story is making the world headlines, and you guys are going out to capture the midnight sun. Could you explain to me, Witsit, what is it that made you say, there's guns are behind the camera and this is a stage? I'd just like to know why you said that. Yeah,
because I was trolling people that are saying things similar to what you're saying, which is we went down there and we obviously have to deal with, we're there with a bunch of globers that are kind of gloating a bit or whatever. It's fine. And then obviously we know the mainstream's going to hate on us. The globers are going to all taunt us. And then we look at our own side and they're calling us liars. And in fact, they're doing so with the most ridiculous claims, easily disproven claims. In fact, the globers were way more focused on trying to debunk them. Jaron and I were just so in disbelief that we just largely ignored it. And so because I kept hearing all the feedback of all the theories, conspiracy theories and stuff, I just couldn't resist but to tell the joke, to make the joke like, oh, there's actually, because it was me being noticeably sarcastic. Now, of course, guess what? You can, of course, just look at the camera and you'll be able to see that all those people are standing there without guns, right? You realize that we have like uncut footage of all of it, right?
Of course, and I get that, Wish. But you see, it's just because you're a guy who was fully on fire, and like Jaren, who makes a little slip up saying "and the sun sets," and it's. I'm glad this is picks up. Is that's absolutely going to blow up, and I'm believing it is, because he does say that. In the same way, Witsit, you got a very good command of language, but for you to go from talking about a creator and a flat Earth, and then you go to Antarctica with these guys, and then it's just I just find it telling that you say that it's a stage, and I know that you're saying that you were just being sarcastic, but also the truth can come out in things like this. Is that, like, I think that you were inside, you were probably very sad that you've got to this place, and this is what a lot of people are thinking, that you're sad that you were in this place where the guns literally are behind the camera, because it's not literal guns, but it's the power bases, and that's what we're talking about. I'm now confronting the lower echelons of the power bases that are seeking to destroy the idea of a God's special creation, which is a dome above us and an earth that he looks down upon. He looks down upon the circle of the earth. He sees us like grasshoppers and loves each one of us individually. And you want to destroy it, and you want to have a spinning globe in a massive, endless space, and
I've destroyed that claim for years.
Well,
no one on this panel can debate me about that claim. What are you talking about? I've destroyed that claim for years. I've destroyed that claim against physicists and astrophysicists. They think that they're free falling, changing directions perpetually without a force, physically impossible.
I'm just saying
They have to invoke. Wait. They have to invoke. They have to invoke inertial forces external to the mechanical systems they claim for orbital mechanics. Never get a rebuttal ever. Never from anyone ever. What are you talking about that I'm trying to convince people that that's the case? I've devoted my whole life to actually disproving that.
No,
but this is what I'm saying. I didn't come in here to like argue with you or something. I don't want to. I'm trying to like reason with you because I can see that they're going to converge on you or whatever. I'm just trying to tell you, man. Like, will you answer this question directly? Do you think a 24-hour sun in Antarctica disproves flat Earth? Yes or no? Oh, he froze. Right. I didn't know if everyone else froze.
Yeah, it looks like he froze.
Crazy timing.
It'll be a conspiracy, I'm sure.
That's great timing.
Yeah, I've done nothing on my end. I don't even think I have the ability in StreamYard to freeze somebody.
Just want to check is my vote working?
I can hear you, but we can't see your camera. You should exit and rejoin. Because that's what I think this is, right? A lot of flat earthers do think that it is a major problem for flat Earth, and that it disproves flat Earth. I disagree with them, but if that's what they think, they should just be honest about it. That's what I think it is. I think a lot of people like really internalize that model. I'm sure I know a bunch of Globers want to say that same thing. Well, whatever. I think you're both wrong. But if that's what they think, then they should just say it. Then we all kind of agree that's what's kind of going on.
Yeah, I mean, I've said from the outset that it's everyone needs to find their own truth. Everyone needs to reconcile the facts that they see and come up with whatever, whether that is a globe, whether that is a different flat Earth model. But you've got to be honest with yourself in what you saw. So, I'm not expecting you or Jaren or whoever to just say, "Oh, there's a 24-hour sun. That's it. There's a globe." But I'm expecting you to, like you've done, say that the model that people have been pushing around doesn't fit. We need to find something else that works, not just like Steve here and just turn around and go, no, everything's a lie, everything's fake because it must be.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think for you to have that position, you must actually think it disproves flat Earth in some way, right? Or you wouldn't need to react that way. They're kind of talking out of both sides of their mouth. A lot of these people, they're like, no, it's just the lights in the sky. It doesn't do anything, doesn't disprove flat Earth. But then they're just irrationally claiming it's all fake, as if they're kind of in this desperate, survival state, which is kind of showing their true cards. I don't know. It's all good. I don't know if you can jump back on. Obviously, I don't want to sit on here and just talk about this all right now, but I do kind of empathize with some of these people. I think a lot of this comes from like trauma of being deceived a lot, and I resonate with a lot of them a lot more than some of you guys, right? Because I don't resonate with people that run cover for a lot of the deceptions and lies, and we have been lied to about a lot. When you see it all, it does kind of get to you. And so I empathize with these people. I don't empathize with dishonesty or anything, though. I think that's so I don't know if he's going to come back on here. I can wait for a few more minutes, but yeah, I don't know.
He was concerned that you said what you did, and then he was concerned that you hadn't done a live yet. And so Jaron told him you did like a 5-hour live last night.
Yeah. And I when I got home, I jumped on Flat Earth Fridays, so I got home 2:30, stayed till 6:30. My daughter woke up at 8:30, so I slept for 2 hours, and then because I wanted to wake her up, and then I had all this stuff at home packed, and then immediately went to Tennessee. So then I got back like late Saturday night, and I was immediately trying to mess with all those videos and stuff. So yeah, it's no grand conspiracy, man. I had to go to Tennessee when I got back. So
awesome.
Whatever.
Yeah. He's gone. So
okay.
I think Steve. I don't know what to say, but he's gone. He's not calling me, texting me, or trying to get back on. So I think he's done.
All right, cool. Well, you guys, you guys be easy. And by the way, look up Laura 830-mile radio frequency tests. 6 foot above the water buoy, fishing boat, should have been blocked under 10 miles, 900 megahertz, way too high to bounce off the atmosphere. We got issues over here on the globe. Sounds interesting. You guys stay easy. I empathize with you guys too some. Try to be honest. Try not to gaslight people, but trust me, I'm getting it way worse than you guys probably, so I get it, so it's all good. So all right, anyway, peace.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, Austin.
For reference, electrical engineer training here, there's not a problem for the globe.
Yeah, second that. There's no problem with the globe.
Will, since I'm seemingly live now that we weren't expecting, should we update everybody with the whole 24-hour video saga just to get it out there so that people are aware?
Definitely, yeah. Tell everybody what you've done, and yeah.
Okay, great. So, just so everybody's aware, because I know there's a lot of people asking, where's the 24-hour straight video? Because apparently a 24-hour time lapse isn't acceptable enough. That was shot on Will's camera, not mine. But the Insta360s, well, firstly, Will recorded 5.7K, 30 frames a second, full 360 degrees. It wound up being over 650 gigabytes worth of video. When you shoot on Insta360s, they don't record as a straight MP4 file. They record as an INSV file. Each one of these is 14 gig, and there's 51 of them because the camera only records 30 minutes at a time, and then it jumps to a new file. So Will wound up with 650 gig across 51 files that then need to be put together into a single 24-hour video. His computer just couldn't handle it at all. So I said, send it. I can try it on mine because I've got a pretty powerful PC. So he uploaded all 51 of those files to a cloud storage, sent me a link. I then had to download all of them, 2 files at a time, because for some reason, if I tried to download more than 2 at a time, it kept getting download errors. So it took me pretty much 2 full days to download all of the files onto my computer. It then took my computer a further 36 hours to export a 25.5-hour, 653 gig file, which I have here. That is the real time 360 video. I think with sound as well. Okay, so the file is there. It does exist, but it's huge. I've uploaded it back to cloud storage to send back to Will, but for some reason, Google Drive is taking forever to process it. And Will, you've tried twice, did you say, to download it, and it's not working yet?
That's right.
Then we
there's
have another
there's
problem that Google, not Google, YouTube limits it to 12 hours. So I thought, great, we'll just speed it up to double speed, 60 FPS. People can play it at half speed. It'll be fine. Turns out there's a 256 gig limit to the files as well. So I am currently exporting the first 10 hours of that, which has been going now for 8 hours, and it's 87% done. It's going to be 247 gigs. So once I've got that exported, I'll upload that to Will, start rendering part 2, and then it'll be part 3 as well. So yeah, it is coming, people, but it's just a frigging big file. It's going to take a long time to sort out. So it's not some massive conspiracy. It's just limitations with technology that we're all trying to face. So yeah, I'm going to be heading off now, guys, because I've got kids to go and put to bed and stuff. But yeah, this was fun.
Thanks, Dave.
No worries,
Appreciate
guys.
it,
Take
man.
care.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
Bye.
If I can add a little more context, I've been wrestling with Insta360 Studio as well. It's people like, oh, I've somebody in the chat has a powerful computer. The problem is, of course, you have to transfer, nearly a terabyte of data, but also the Insta360 Studio app is not very well written. It doesn't leverage the GPU very well. I'm looking at it running on my GPU, and it's not pegging my GPU. So it's not GPU bound. It's something else bound in the system. I'm pegging my CPU, even though it's a GPU type operation. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's slow to do no matter what. It takes 24 hours to output a 12-hour video. And then I've done it 3 times. 3 times. There was issues with it. The most recent one, the one I was showing, is over 300 gig. It's too big. So I'm re-rendering right now. It's about half done with that one. Now, Will sent me the same one that Dave was talking about. So I'm going to try to render that as well. So
awesome. Someone just suggested that Dave upload the video straight to the TFE channel. That's a great idea. So I will probably do that. Cool. Well, that live was very exciting. Someone sent me a message saying it was the best live they've ever seen. So I will take it. I will take it. Thanks, Critical Think, for joining.
No worries.
You went home from Antarctica $500 richer. And somehow magically the flight that he did not think exists all of a sudden magically works on the Gleason's map.
Yeah, I don't know what kind of ruler they were using, but it's very strange.
But loved having you with us, and we're going to be releasing more of your data and information on the TFE channel soon. So take care.
thanks, Will.
All right,
See ya.
everybody. Monday, you don't want to miss it. We've got a premiere in the final experiments series, which will be the 24-hour moon. So that video is incredible. It turned out well, and again, there is no response or answer to a 24-hour moon on a flat Earth. So anyway, look forward to that, and we'll keep releasing more experiments, more videos, and more evidence for the globe and against flat Earth. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.